like that, and that should do it. Okay. I should actually change the background to something more appropriate. I did not think. Hold on. Not that. It downloads. For fuck's sake, why is it? That is from 10. That's from Nyaxis. Oh, that's Matt's Tinder picture. We don't talk about that one.
What's wrong with it?
It's very Slavic in the Soviet style. It's like, yes, hello, I work at the milk combine. Good job. Can buy much sausage. Ladies, eat up. Like you could at least smile a bit, like it would just like strike a pose or something, because that is like, oh boy, that is so 40 years ago, buddy. But like no, like honestly, like there is a strong wife of a deputy director of a Soviet combine of some kind.
That's how I actually look like.
Uh huh. Oh right. Sister Magdalene call. That's the nun, right? Yeah. Okay. Good. Okay. So yeah, in terms of the NPCs, like other than the Tremere, assume that there are more vampires in the city than this, but I'm just a representative amount of the most prominent, essentially, between Danzig and the cities that are subordinate to Danzig in the same metropolitan area, like Sopot and the one that's further to the north. The domain is something like 100 vampires. The Dremir are by far the smallest clan, there's just like 5 of them. But business is good. Like, everyone wants a bit of magic, so there is no shortage of trade going on. Can you close that off? Bacon is coming online. I don't know, maybe I should just ask you, Matt, like, how worn out are you today?
Um, you know, It may sound counterintuitive, but I yesterday I analyzed things that I do. I've listed them, and I'm overextending in real time. In
Uh-huh.
reality, let me list. I have a psychologist, a psychiatrist,
Mm-hmm.
a fitness trainer, a Latvian tutor, three hobby groups, work. I'm also trying to attend college in Scotland.
Uh-huh. The flights back and forth for classes must be a bitch, huh?
What?
Never mind that making a joke. It's remote learning, right?
Like, I just have too much stuff.
Yeah, I was considering trying to offer you the advice of cutting some of it, but I was gonna wait for you to implode a bit more before I thought you would be receptive.
But so I think it will be fair for my character to be overextended as well, for him to
Mm-hmm.
have too much stuff already. I just like minute ago I added a tech specialist to my character. So I think Nayaxi is
Oh,
absent. Maybe we'll begin with Bacon.
okay, so you're cool with going second, right? Like that's probably
Yes.
like okay. Uh, well, either way. Okay, so I guess let's ask this way: Who the fuck wants to go first?
No, what the fuck is going on? Sorry,
Checking
just
characters, session zero shit.
okay, okay. Yeah, sorry. Just give me a moment. I'm googling large Polish guy on not Google, Brave Search. I don't use Google anymore.
Okay, so maybe I'll give you the rundown to the extent that I worked it out. Like, I don't have all the sheets made because I was sick during the week, so I apologize. Normally, I would know exactly what the political landscape looks like, who are the troublemakers, who are, the good boys and girls, etc. by this point in the preparation. But, uh, okay, we're gonna do session zero today. Then next week we play, then we skip a week. So my idea was that session one we're gonna make some sort of a semi self-contained mission appropriate to the larger plot, so it's not too jarring a break. And we can use that to play out how the party comes together as well. I think that's a reasonable way to go about this. In terms of the political rundown, um, the city is the city is heavily Camarilla, right? There isn't really a meaningful anarch presence, mostly because the prince is a piece of shit. How much status did I give Bacon's sire? Let me check. Yeah, she has like 3 dots, so she's respected, but she is not that respected. And status is modified by age, so her 3 dots are worth more than Stanislav's, but still they are. It's kind of like she's an elder and people are, or close to an elder, and people are like, okay, fine. And Stanislav is more like, oh, you precious little baby, you know?
Precious little baby that
Uh huh.
basically has control over who gets magic.
You don't have control over shit, son. You are the most junior Tremere in the chantry. You're the gopher. Okay, you're the errand boy. You get to carry messages to the regent. That's about it. From their point of view, the regent might listen to like, okay, how much do you think we can sell them the shit for today? Huh? Did I seem desperate, kid? Right? But like you're a neon. Don't expect respect from these people. You ain't getting it. But yeah, heavily cameral domain. If there are slightly less clenched tight clans, it would be the Nosferatu and Malkavian. They have control and influence over the kind of more practical parts of the city, police, criminal, utilities, etc. between them. And in some areas they overlap, so there's friction. So it's not exactly a kind of, oh, we're best of friends lines. It's a, okay, we need to work together, and it's cheaper to come to agreement than to fight this out. And they're the more liberal side, right? And they're still cameral as fuck. So it's not even that this city has anarchs, it's more that it's like Camarilla reformers and Camarilla hardcore traditionalists, essentially. Then you have two clans that are sort of in the middle, the Tremere and the Bruja. The Tremere are, of course, fully behind the prince, and the Bruja are, of course, against the horrible Ventru. But in reality, the Bruja in the city are acting like a high clan and kind of managing it by providing various services, and particularly being really good at combat and being the strong arm of the government that's kind of like keeping it distance, like, okay, we'll help you, but, that sort of vibe. And the Tremere are like, business is good. Why would we want to go against the prince? Business is good. Why are you trying to rob the boat? No, fuck off. With that little unsaid hook at the end, unless you have a better offer, And then you have the two most elder heavy clans in the city, in the current configuration, thanks to the dice rolls. The Toreador and Ventru are very, very elder heavy. And their age is skewed towards the old. And the Toreador outnumbered the Ventru a little bit. The Prince is Ventru, the Seneschal and Sheriff will be Toreador. And I think I might make Bacon's Sire the Scourge. I'm gonna make the Scourge Bruja. The Scourge job, by the way, Matt, it's a position that doesn't exist in every city, at least officially. Their job is to remove undesirables, thin bloods, drifters, etc. Their job is to either kill or run people out of town that the prince says, no, actually you're not welcome in this domain, fuck off.
Considering it's Europe, that probably includes the what's the name of the illusion people? Forgot that, the gypsy ones, right?
The Ravnos vampires? Yeah, no,
Yes.
fuck those guys. Luckily, most of them died when they're in the Diluvian Vogue, so it's not as much of a problem as it was 50 years ago. The prince is very happy that situation resolved itself.
I can imagine the prince just waking up for a moment. Ah yes, they're all back in Romania. Good thing. Never seen them again.
Princess playing Crusader Kings.
Button
Take the
covering
loan,
over the
expel.
expelled shoes.
First take the loan.
It's just wondering if he can get away with it in the days of modern banking, or maybe not. But yes, that's like in general terms the political rundown. This is a Europe domain, so any major dispute or attempt to transfer power will get a visit from at least a couple of Archons, if not a Justicar. You are not far from the moderately long arm of the Camarilla. The inner circle exerts its influence here, and princes are forced to, play by the rules. Then again, the rules of the Camarilla are stacked in favor of the elders, so that's not so bad a thing. And the prince is... He's been officially in charge probably for a while. Well, longer than you can remember, right? Like, let's say you've heard rumors that at some point he did a stint in torpor and just skipped like an era of Polish history that he really didn't like. But overall, he's been around effectively forever, from your point of view. And a lot of the elders have as well. Okay, so any immediate questions that you feel like you might need to know for finishing designing your characters about the political situation? Oh, yes, in terms of applying the law, the prince is the bad cop, the sheriff is actually the good cop.
Good strategy. Making the prince the good cop is very rare.
The sheriff is a toreador who kind of got really into Tai Chi and movement meditation, so he's very into vampires dealing with their shit and not becoming a problem for their neighbors, and if that doesn't work, then I'm sorry, you need to be cut away for the good of the collective.
Feng Shui. I know.
Yes, he's gonna feng shui your ass into a hash. Yeah, in terms of Primogen, I'm sorry I don't have the Ventru or the Bruja ones made, but you know, Bacon's mostly gonna interact through his sire anyway, because he's someone's pet. And, well, Nyaxi is bound as well, so perhaps less important, but it's like Ventru have their monthly board meetings, but it's mostly elders and ancillary Nyaxi, so you're like the kid who's allowed to be the cupbearer so you can listen in and learn how politics work, and you're gonna be that way for the next 100 years in their eyes until you know you earn your place to actually speak up during the meeting. So it's... Ventru are very, they actually have, you know, meetings in regards to how they handle their internal politics. And there's rules. Someone is... Oh, actually, no, they wouldn't make you the secretary. They, about a century ago, they saw how that shit turns out. A neonate doesn't get to be party secretary. And yeah, for the Bruja, it's... Well, you know, these are the kind of Bruja that are gonna drop like veiled hints about Carthage in Elysium. And, you know, just talking among themselves when they're pissed with the prince goes something along the lines of, oh yes, shame how Rome fell. What a tragedy, with like that hidden sticker in their voice. And yeah, in terms of the prince's outlook, he's definitely racist. He's racist as fuck, or clanist, rather. There are 3 high clans because he does grudgingly accept that Bruja is a high clan. There's Ventru, Toreador, and Bruja. So from his point of view, the actual opposition is the Bruja, not the Malkavians and Nosferatu. Like, let the peasants do what they want, like put the boot in when they get out of line. And Tremere, well, fucking usurper cunts, essentially. He doesn't like the Tremere, but he does business with the Tremere, and the Tremere are owed a lot of boons over the city. Like, a lot of fucking boons. Yeah, actually, that's an important distinction, right? The clans that are owed the most boons are Nosferatu, Bruja, and Tremere, the 3 clans that provide some kind of valuable service, military power, magic, information. And in terms of ages, the Nosferatu, the Tremere, and the Malkavian are more normally spread out age-wise. The Nosferatu are the youngest clan, by averages.
One thing that I didn't is not on the map. What is the territory distribution?
There is. I'm not distributing like entire areas of the city to specific clans. They're not handling it this way. It's by the individual, and it all goes through the Prince and Seneschal. The Primogen are not granted rights to distribute domains among clan members as they see fit, largely. There's common feeding grounds all over the city, but there are no huge swaths that are like, okay, you own this. The only exception would be the Nosferatu, where everything that's sewers, utility tunnels, etc. is theirs, but that's out of necessity, and that's it. So, yeah, I know how we handled it in the past normally, but that's because the Primogen Council is generally more powerful than it is here.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is, the prince has granted you domain, neonate. Take care of it. Not,
Right.
you made your Primogen happy, the clan grows stronger.
Interesting. More centralized. And where is the like how many Elysiums are there?
I haven't exactly decided. I think that generally speaking, there isn't gonna be a permanent Elysium as a location. Elysium is gonna be more of an event because it's more secure that way. So there's various vampires that own various locations as their domain, and there's gonna be like a keeper of Elysium that runs the event, and then the vampire that acts as a host, right? So it's like, impoverish your nobles by moving the court around kind of a
Right.
area. So,
Yeah.
like you have to actually be in contact with the Harpies, like, and they'll next Elysium, 3 nights, such and such museum, give this password.
And the tower.
Oh, what, you think you're gonna know the prince's residence?
Like he doesn't have a public one? If I came into
Probably.
the city and I have to introduce myself, where would I go?
You find a vampire who introduces you to a harpy, who takes you to the sheriff, who takes you to the prince.
Okay.
Like you go through the locals. You come into the city, you figure out when the next Elysium is, and you show up, escorted by someone. But it's Camarilla. Like if you haven't called ahead and don't know where to go, then you are an illegal immigrant, which means that your sire is telling you and a couple of her ghouls that you have a job to do. Really. This is not a
Understandable.
welcoming city. This isn't the new world where you can walk and it's like, I would like to take a precedence. I've just arrived. It's your letter of introduction from your previous 2 cities, Neonate. Now.
Okay.
It's like, if it's someone super young and raggedy looking, like if you don't make a good case of presenting yourself and show up as a complete random, like there's probably cases in all of your memories when the prince has been, we have no reason to trust who you say you are. We do not welcome you to our city. You will depart by the end of the night or else. So like randoms that show up are not welcomed.
Perfectly reasonable city. All the others there are not reasonable enough.
Yeah, well, old world Camarilla, different rules.
Good rules.
You dare doubt the Camarilla, Neonate! Okay, I feel like we have 2 new players. So I think I'm gonna make everyone's sheets visible to everyone because it's not fair if we check theirs as a group and don't make everyone's visible.
Okay.
Silence means assent, and you want huge size, and yeah, this flaw set works for me.
Well, if everything is public anyways, let me just find my TXT with my character and put on the bio.
I am just gonna let them actually look at the sheet itself. If it's not your sheet, don't click shit around.
Where is... Mm. What's the code file? Here, a sec.
So everyone open Lezek sheet and we will go through the math.
Wait, I have to close it and open again. I have to go.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
His melee and performance stats are 4. I
Yes.
thought we had a limit 3.
No, you can go to 4 in 3 stats.
Hmm.
When we get to
On
you, you'll be able to change things. We'll go through everything and fine tune and optimize. Though, don't worry about it. Like nothing is locked in. Like this is us finishing the characters now. Consider everything up till now like a draft and preparation to, you know.
Yeah, I just had a question.
Yeah, that's fine. Right, repelled by crosses. We had a reasoning for that I forget, but I think it was something awesome. Oh, right. You have a religion thing, right? Like
yes, he's a LARPy pagan.
right. Okay. Okay. So uh, take me through the math. You are spending some freebies on perception, right? And then okay, the
Yes.
math on attributes matches up. Talents
Going with
goes.
the best distribution, physical, social, mental, like most of my characters.
Mm-hmm.
You can clearly see with the low manipulation that although he's a nice guy, plays music, knows how to express himself, he can't really use this expression to try to get things done for him. He's a bit autistic on that side, low manipulation. Also a bit dumb. That's why many of his life decisions are the way they are.
I mean, we always play manipulative characters, but doesn't mean you have to do it that way. I do see that in your freebies you've listed +3 from flaws, but that has
Oh yeah, yeah.
changed. So you're
Yes,
gonna have to calculate that.
and I reduced that with fame instead of +2 on fame.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
2 for flaws. Yeah, should add 4, 6, 8, 10, 15, yeah, 17.
Okay. So your talents are primary for abilities, I think.
Yes. It's talent, skills, knowledges, always left to right. And I think I got some freebies on the abilities, yeah, to get my 2 skills to 4. Also took craft. Yeah, performance, melee, stealth, craft. Most of my freebies were increasing skills.
So four dot spot there. 8, 9 +4. Yeah, that matches up. Okay. Humanities at 6. You bought one of those. And you want more resources than fame.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And the resources are probably like, I'm gonna say it's half and half. Half of it you get from when you get to actually like playing music or like some royalties from like the one record that your group released before everything imploded. And the other half is probably like coming from your sire, like this is a bank account, there are stocks in it, dividends will get deposited in there. Don't fuck around with it.
Yes, Jewish trickery. Yes, I understand.
Wow, Bacon, what the fuck? Jewish fucking trick, motherfucker. Okay, the maths.
I went the Chad way instead of power gaming my disciplines. One dot on everything. Perfect. Perfectly balanced.
And I see that. Right, well, let's take a look at your bio, go through your story.
Right. Let me actually add the very big folder I wrote there. Control A.
And you complained that I have a, like, how to explain, a bulky guy.
Well, yeah, he took the merit even for it, so he's like he makes
Gigacha.
your bodyguard types look small, right?
Yeah, like, he's a drummer, he needs to be big. Style header tree. Where is it? It's missing some. Here, sire, header tree. I need else to put on black here. B. B. Fuck a bunch of. Oh no, it's just my. Yeah, not spelling errors, it's fine. Safe. Added the blocky bio.
Okay, and take us through it. Explain in your own words. That's your character.
Right. Probably, I think it's the oldest between the player's characters from the 80s. So his family was from communist bureaucrats. So they were very overworked on his early childhood, and then communism kind of fell off in Poland. So there was this big impact that the parents that he never spent that much time with, now everyone spoke bad about them because, oh, those are those corrupt communists and etc. etc. So he felt very rejected in his early childhood. Like, my parents are apparently these evil communists, and everyone else, like, they bully me for it, and I never spend time with them. So he quickly goes to what children do. Oh, I'll rebel against everyone. So what I'm going to rebel against? My parents are communists, and they rejected me. And all this normies nowadays, like following the church, like good dogs, and oh, we are for liberty and rights and democracy. I know. I'm going to go and be one of those edgy guys. And so he starts getting into black metal. Big inspirations are the bands Graveland and Infernum. So yeah, he starts listening to black metal, all the weird black and clothes, face painting. Quickly he joins some, let's say, funny fighting clubs, like with his older people with some funny symbols and yeah, kid, you're big, yeah, let's go beat some commies up. And he quickly gets on this thing. Some of his classmates eventually on high school also are retarded like him. So with two classmates and the one classmate younger brother, all with very fun names like Perun, Wilhelm, and Veles, they create a band, Graveyard. It's not that successful. Like they got mild success on the clubs around, but the band it was just a reason to get together, beat people up, have fights after the show, and have fun. But his sire is a bitch, and she just there's this black metal band with some big violent guys. I'm going to have fun there, and she starts messing up with Lezak and Perun.
You know
She
what,
tries to.
Bacon? I can add a detail to this. The concept for Emilia is that, among other things, she runs fight clubs because she wants to perfect the art of, combat. So
Okay, yeah,
she
it
was
fits.
probably tracking all of you from the beginning, and then it's like, yes, some of my best prospects. Let's see which one of them survives.
She starts just emotionally messing with them, like leading them on and then rejecting and just doing this manipulation. But for Lazak, like he's a bit retarded, so all his relationships don't really go beyond like he gets with a girl. She noticed that actually he's very shallow. He only wants to fight and play music. Let's try with the other ones. Like he doesn't have future. His band is shit. So when he actually gets some attention back, he gets really happy, and like he does the best to keep it. So, my friend is also going for her. I know, I'm going to record her saying nice things to me and try to make her say bad things about him, and I'll be very sneaky. She probably knew, and nice test. Let's see how they react. So he records some stuff, and he shows to Perun. Perun is also not very emotionally stable, considering he's on a black metal band, but he doesn't really take it, and he offs himself a few days later. So that's how they end the band, and Emilia, well, he's the last one alive. Guess it's him. So, personal goal. After rethinking some of his life, he wants to get closure for his dead friend. So he needs to permission from Emilia to do something very stupid. Burning the church that his friend was buried behind. Because a good man like him shouldn't go to a church. What he values the most is his thrift shitbox and his never-ending love. Horrible thing he got used doing is just committing atrocities for Emilia. Just killed some people, the usual. And hunting method, he's a simple guy. Just waits into dark corner, jumps someone while wearing a ski mask or blackface.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. I would like to add to the church bit. It's not just burning down the church. You're supposed to desecrate the site so it's no longer consecrated. Because he shouldn't be buried in holy ground.
Okay. Perfect. Even more stupid.
It's like an immediate invitation to Society of Leopold. Yes, this pale corpse-like figure was seen desecrating and burning down this church. Ew, ew. Prepare the Sky Ranger, we have to go.
Right. For important people, he doesn't really have much friends besides his sire, so it's his two surviving band members. One is still in the city around, like, kinda likes him, Wilhelm, but he's now raising a family, so Lizak doesn't interact with him much. And the other is the brother of the guy that off himself. fellas. He moved away, he's on Germany working, but like Lezek still tries to message him through Facebook sometimes, and like, I'm sorry, man. Please, let's be
Recently,
friends again.
Facebook has demanded that you allow them to totally legally gather all your data, so it's like this annoying thing. And probably your side told that it's probably a bad idea to give them permission, so you have been trying to find an alternate way that doesn't involve Facebook, and I'm not sure if you're tech savvy. I don't. Did you take that?
He has dots on computer. Someone had to keep the shitty website for the band going on.
Oh, so okay. So it's probably like a pre-made website template with like a bunch of fonts and colors changed. And,
Yes. It's very 2000s.
Yeah.
Like, besides that, his only other two friends is like another human, Cornelius, is the mechanic. It's one that makes his shitbox go on, and organizes the drift night. So sometimes he just goes there, hangs with him, and like drifts around. It's not that good driving, but that's the fun part, not being rude. And the local Mokavian Dr. Helena Nowak, she's a psychologist. Apparently has a very broken mind. He recognizes that a bit, so interacts with her. She does some therapy on him, but doesn't really believe psychology that much. Then we have Desire. Already said, she's a bitch, etc. Manipulative. But sadly, he doesn't really see how bad things are because it's the first person that actually appeared to care about him. So even though starting to notice like, maybe she's not treating me very well, but what else can I do? I don't have anyone else.
Yeah, it's probably the therapy where like the
I
gentle
actually wrote
prodding
that.
where it's just
Yeah, in recent times he started to critique some, mostly due to his time in therapy. Starting to notice, maybe that's not how relationships are supposed to be.
yeah. Dr. Helene is probably not long for this world if an accident can be arranged.
Yep. And like about his place on the city, honestly, he doesn't really cares. Like, it's politics. He acts like the good boy because like his sire is apparently doing important shit and he can't fuck up. So he always tries to follow the retarded rules. It's really bad with them. He has like a piece of paper in his pocket that says like good clans, list of clans, bad clans, list of clans. And on
Yeah,
the
you
other
better
side,
hope
like,
nobody realizes you have that. That's a masquerade breach. It'll get you killed. You wrote
remember,
down the list of clans, you stupid god. The prince will hear this.
he can't really remember. He needs to be a good boy. Apparently, the La Sombra are bad clan and you should kill them, right? Yes.
Gargamel just has a question mark next to it.
He doesn't really care about the position. Honestly, he cares more about the political situation on the mortal side than the actual vampire one. But he can't really do nothing on both of them, so at most he helps out and gives some tips to some of the few remaining pagan groups in Gdansk.
So you are probably the only one in the party that's likely, at least, actually ashed a vampire. Or been part of killing one.
Based.
Okay, let's wait for Maxi to rejoin, but is there anything you guys think needs adding to, fleshing out, or changed on this character? Does all of this make sense? And do the flaws of repelled by crosses, loathsome regnant. That means that not only is he bloodbound, but his side treats him like shit. And huge size all makes sense.
I mean, all makes sense to me. Camarilla do blood bonding in that.
Okay, next you were asking for the group's seal of approval. Does Leszek make sense and fit in?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, then let's move on to Stanislav.
Okay.
The dots are gonna need some adjustment as well the merits. So let's start with the story, because the story
Uh,
informs like the rest of it.
when in childhood, Stanislav and his sister was adopted by their group by a member of Tremere clan, who make them both study like there is no tomorrow. At certain point, oh stop, let me find it. Their parents were killed by my retainer, Greg. He then adopted my character and his sister into three, then raised them and make them study a lot. After after some time, at certain point, Stanislav was slightly better at studying than his sister, so Gregor decided to murder his sister. He sent a gang squad. Okay, I'm bad at talking. Gang to murder Stanislav's sister. Afterwards, Stanislav got really angry because he loved his sister more than anything in the entire world, and investigated the group. While investigating the group, he used Dominate too much and broke a Masquerade a bit. And his sire knows that he broke a Masquerade.
Wait,
So
what is this
that was
about a masquerade breach? I don't remember us talking about this.
it's negative trait, Masquerade breaker, using Dominate too much.
Ah, you want that as a flaw. Well,
Yes.
okay, let's
Uh,
let's go through the story. We'll take a look at
okay.
merits and flaws afterwards.
Yeah. So he found out that his sire mm, make the gang assassinate his sister, and afterwards confronted sire about this. After Stanislav confronted his sire, sire tells Stanislav that his training is complete and now he's a full-fledged Tremere vampire. So so while being trained, Stanislav learned a lot about social studies, politics, people's feelings, negotiations, etc. Basically, he is a manipulator who knows how to deal with people. Mm-hmm. Okay. So now continue. Violet the Moth. He is friends with Magdalena Kowalski. It's put it and a nun in an orphanage. And Stanislav likes to take care of orphanages children because they remind him of his sister. and he feels warmth while doing so. Horrible thing he is used to doing, violating people's minds by rewriting their memories.
Yeah, we're gonna need to adjust that part because you don't actually have dominate 3 in the way you configured your dot, so we're gonna need to adjust your dot.
Stop. I cannot rewrite memories by without dominate 3.
Yeah, dominate 1 is single word commands, dominate 2 is like long term suggestions that can be more complex, and dominate 3 is rewriting memories.
Okay, I will I will readjust settings later.
Yeah, let's.
Mm. I will put one dot from dramaturgy into
Yeah, that's
dominate.
fine.
Hunting method. He likes to approach person and how to explain, have a nice chat to them, then go with them to somewhere private, suck their blood a bit, and then rewrite their memories that nothing happened.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he has some quote unquote friends which he used to suck blood from. Okay. Now, important people. He has Adrian Flanker, the loyal butler. So my character has 3 retainers. First one is a butler. All 3 retainers are blood bound, so they're loyal. Um, Butler is used for social stuff. Bodyguards is used for guarding, and and tech adept is used for finance management and tech involved stuff.
Okay, but tech is very wide. It's like electronics, or is it like.
Electronics,
Okay.
electronics, like
Oh,
hacking, etc.
okay.
So, as a place in a Tremere, as being part of a Tremere clan, my character is being somewhat of a shopkeeper for Tremere. When people want to buy some magical services, they go to my character to form a contract, and then my character delivers the contract to the head of the clan.
Mm-hmm.
I am saying approximately because I'm new to the game.
Yeah, it's kind of less of a written contract. It's more like you owe me a favor, you owe them a favor, or like I'll sell
Mhm.
you the favor such and such owes me in exchange for this, that sort of thing, right? Vampires trade in favors
Yeah.
of varying magnitude.
To finalize, my character has a bad relationship with my sire
Yeah, no shit.
and wants to kill him. His main goal in life is to avenge his sister and murder his sire in a way that no one can suspect. But due to being his sire, you can't just murder your own sire in the Vampire the Masquerade.
Mm-hmm.
That's it, I guess. I took through all of the most important parts. Now let's get through abilities. My
Hold on.
character,
Let me just double check. Okay, important. That. Oh Christ! Like you use so much Chat GPT on this description. It's such a wall of text in some places. Like, yeah, I noticed. But okay, let's see. He also has a Nosferatu friend that he can commiserate with about being in a shit position. And
You.
yeah, I know, right? Disgusting fucking low clans. But yeah, like she is very like insistent that like they shouldn't do business or trade favors between them two because it's like she is absolutely sure that will completely ruin the friendship the moment they bring business into it. And what else? You have your butler, yes, and you have Sister Magdalena, and you try to help with that. Okay, that covers pretty much everything. Yeah, his sire is not one of the oldest vampires. He's more in that, you know, newly graduated to Ancilla age bracket, effectively. But he's, still like a century old-ish. And, I mean, actually, with the way the sheets are currently configured, Stanislav does have more status than his sire. Because his sire doesn't want to go out among people that much, he's more interested in pursuing whatever his research happens to be in the chantry. And, but his sire is one of the people you can go to buy blood if you have money and don't want or can't hunt.
So it's pretty much the public face of the Tremere. Oh yeah, we are too busy deal with the young boy there.
That's his reason. He's the errand boy. Like, he thinks he's important and he does have a great deal of status. But it's like, okay, kid, a lot of people want shitty rituals, circles against ghouls. Get about this much. Like, it's not a difficult spell, right? Like he's that guy.
Oh, they didn't tell him that the clan status is more important.
I don't think anyone took clan status. I didn't include it as a separate option or highlight it in this one, but
Let me continue.
yes, let's.
I put my attributes main, first of all, social, because my character is very social.
Mm-hmm.
High charisma and manipulation. Then mental for magic. And whatever left was put into physical. Not a lot of physical.
Okay.
Then abilities. 15 points into talents, all social. I'm not sure about maybe
Yeah, we'll
removing
rearrange
stuff from
those because.
streetwise to subterfuge.
Well,
Okay.
leadership is about getting people to follow your example, and also talents by default are 13 points, not 15.
13.
Or like the primary in abilities, so you're off there anyway.
Not 15. Okay. So I removed 2 points.
And
Then 9 points to skills.
yes.
For social, firearms and melee for combat, just in case. And a little bit into knowledge. 2 points in law, 2 points in politics, and 1 point into occult knowledge.
Occult is all the existing category just about politics. You should use that entry instead of entering the second
So I can remove this point and move this into politics instead.
No, into occult. Like you should still have
sorry.
1 point
Yeah.
of.
I see.
It's kind of like Tremere, right? Like, if you don't know at least a very basic of how symbology and all the language they use in all the old books work, if you can track the Illuminati and like what was I don't remember, like the book about symbols, like it was very popular about religion, right? Like, where they go, I completely. Point is, like, if you can't read that shit, right?
Yeah.
At all, Tremere are gonna look at you like you're retarded.
Okay, let me continue.
Yes.
Then I need to explain my freebie points.
Yes.
I put 7 freebie points into improving dominate by 1 point, and 8 points into background. That's why I have 3 points in dominate. So my character is a dominator.
Mhm.
just in case. And 1 point in Traumatology Fire. So he can draw a fireball just in case.
Okay.
Now I need to explain backgrounds. Here I would need to explain a lot. So first of all, resources. My character is rich, 3 points. Then retainers, 3 people who help him. Generation, the 12th generation needed for magic. I don't remember why it was. I cannot remember exactly why I needed 12th generation, but it was needed for something.
It
Then
makes it.
status.
I think you wanted to be able to dominate at least some vampires. But it's still gonna be a bitch of a time because this is like an old European city. Everyone, like, there's a lot of low generation people.
Okay. So status 3 points. Mm, yeah. My character has high status among vampires. Influence.
Yeah,
Influence is
effectively,
like
actually, status wise, I have a good way of explaining it. Uh, oh my god, you are the deputy director. You are the assistant to the regent in representing the clan. He's the assistant primogen.
Hmm.
He's the assistant primogen of the Trimier Chantry.
Poor guy. He has to work a lot.
Yeah, no, like he's in Elysium a lot. Like I was gonna suggest the Elysium regular merit.
what exactly an Elysium regular merit gives.
Effectively, you are in Elysium a lot, and like you have no problem getting access to important people, if I recall
Ah,
correctly.
stop. Let me check it in the book.
Uh, one more question regarding backgrounds before I do the math on freebies, make sure everything matches. Um, influence. Influence over what specifically? That's you need to pick an area that you actually have contacts
Um,
or like influence over.
human politics.
Oh, you're gonna have to be more specific than that. Is it like city bureaucracy, that sort of thing?
Hmm. I thought about it as influence in general, like
I mean, it is to an extent, but it's still focused on like a specific area because like I'm mapping the influence across a whole city, and there's a vast difference between having 5 dots of influence that specializes in police and 5 dots of influence that specializes in, let's say, hospitals, right?
hmm, let's say how to explain. I need to be able to be among the more important people.
Uh-huh. So you want access to high society.
Yeah.
Well, you
Rich
can.
people or politicians or
Well, they hang
both.
out together at the same charity events anyway, so. So you can just write it as influence high society. That I'll accept that as specialization. That makes sense to me. And that way, like, if you need access to a party or if you need to get invites for your coterie, then you could roll like
Yeah.
that influence or that influence plus something, and or it might modify the difficulty on getting access by reducing it.
Then we'll go to the merits and flaws. I replace merit natural leader with Elysium regular.
I will say immediately here, harmless does not fit with as many backgrounds as you have amassed. You are not harmless.
Why is that? I mean,
Because
my
you have
combat
a
stats.
fuck ton of attention on you, and everyone is like, okay, that kid is going real hard, that he's having some. You know, it's kind of like that, oh, so precious, narrows eyes moment.
Okay, so then I will have natural leader and Elysium regular.
Okay, what would
Natural leader
natural
because
leader do? Because, like, again, all of this is pending approval, and I tried to make it clear that merits in particular I would be a bitch about approving. 2 extra dice when making leadership rolls.
I mean, I have charisma level 3.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with no unnatural leader. 2 free dice of leadership if for 1 freebie point seems like a significant hacks. It's yeah, I'm gonna write this off as one of those at the very least mispriced merits.
Mm. Mm.
Okay, but
Okay,
Masquerade Breaker
maybe
is
protege maybe instead.
the protege. Maybe, but we want
Yes,
to
I think
make sure it
protege is fine.
fits the flaw as well. So
A floor is masquerade breaker.
yeah, that makes
You,
0 sense. Masquerade breakers generally end up dead unless the region traded a favor for you to survive. It's not very compatible with your high status.
Is there not like dark secret in V20? I know Mage has
I
it.
mean, there is, but
okay, I will
it's not
make
even
a
a
change.
secret
I will
because
remove natural.
he
So
confronted
that's how I will
Desire
do it.
with it already.
Yeah, but
I
like
will,
Desire is the one that knows the
guys,
secret.
let
That's
me
good
speak.
leverage.
It's important.
Right.
So I will remove. I will have just one merit, Elysium regular, and one flow special responsibility. I will need to take care of children in the
Oh no, that's a vampire responsibility, and it's generally
sorry.
one that comes without reward. So that we talked about overextended, which is a horrible flaw, but it's very fitting,
I
and it would.
I cannot take this. I know how scary you as a DM. You will just kill me if I have this one.
Oh, you thought Dark Heresy was scary. I was going easy on you in that
Yeah,
one.
I
Vampire
will
the
take dark.
Masquerade is where I live, honey.
I will take dark secret. Dark secret is a secret that um my master killed my sister. No one told. My character never told anyone about this.
Okay, but how does that impact you? Because Dark Secret is shit that you can be blackmailed with. Okay, so you don't want to take a super harmful flaw. Okay, that's fair. Let's look for someone that's like 1 or 2 points, right?
Just take infertile vitae. You don't need children.
That one is
Easy.
banned.
Ah.
Okay, what about uppity? Maybe you're proud of your new status in the camera
What is
and you
up with me?
offended
It's
someone.
2 points.
Uppity is two
Uh,
points.
I cannot find it.
Scroll back among the
Which page?
500 on the PDF.
500.
It does make sense for the character you're basing it on.
Uppity. Let me.
And I will apply it to 1 or 2 NPCs that,
Uh,
among
wow.
the good and powerful that might be upset at you.
I'll have to take it. Yeah, sorry. It will. Fuck. It messes with my social stuff. It can
I
greatly
know
decreases
well
my
the
power.
desire to min-max, but we're trying to tell a story, not... and the story, when we get right down to it, is that...
Okay, I will have apathy. So if I have one more point of uh, flaws than merits, how many points can I add to
it's 1 for 1.
Yeah, one
one
freebie.
for one?
So you
Okay.
can take an extra point of background. Uh, might I suggest an extra point of hurt? That will take it up to a total of 7 people, and that's a
Yeah, I will
very
take an
nice
extra point of
cushion
hurt.
for, if you end up getting badly fucked up and needing to do a lot of healing.
Yes, so just one extra point of hurt then. Yeah.
Okay, and let me count up the amount of total. So 9, 10, 14, 14, and 9 freebies spent in that. So that matches up. Does anyone have any comments or notes on Stanislav?
I mean, can't even see his character sheet, but by what was described, everything looks
Actually,
like it
you're
fits.
absolutely right. I forgot. I have made it visible. Take a look. Tear it apart. Fuck him up.
No, it's very one of
Trivia.
starting World of Darkness character, very edgy backstory. After a while, you just stop caring and you just write whatever comes to mind.
I'm actually proud of that backstory. I came up with this idea about the sister murder. It was like he didn't do it justice. He told it shittily.
I'm willing to bet the sister was blonde and possibly blind and in a wheelchair.
No,
Uh,
she wasn't. Like, I mean, he described like from the point of view of what he knows happened after the fact, right? At the time, it was like his parents died in an accident. A kind figure adopts him. He lives off of his parents' money. He and his sister, things start turning around. They're growing up. They're training. The the adopted parent encourages them to excel and compete against each other to see who can do better. The one who does worst gets killed by a gang. Eventually the one who survives gets embraced into the clan Tremere, and he finds out that it was the plan all along and he killed his sister indirectly by being better at school.
Yeah, that doesn't
uh,
happen at all to that character who it's based on.
right. One thing it's missing, you can get specialties on your attributes when you have 4 on a dot. You
Yes.
can choose a thing that is your specialty, so when you roll a 10, it counts as 2 successes instead of just 1.
So where I have charisma, manipulation, and wits, I can take specialty.
Yes.
Yes. Take a look at the
It's on.
description in the book for some example specialties.
Yeah,
Yes.
I will pick some specialties.
And specialties work like if the ST decides that it's a suitably narrow definition that applies to a given situation, tens count double on a specialty roll.
Mhm.
So it can really amplify things in certain cases.
Yeah.
And
Besides that, everything else looks good.
and on some knowledges are mandatory having a specialty. Like in science, you don't know all science. You might know chemistry, or you might know physics, or you might know something specific, right? And then you have a basic understanding on science, but really you're a chemist who understands how things work a little bit on everything, but like you're a chemist. And same thing on computers, like if your tech boy is a hacker.
Can I take dominate as specialty for wits?
No, definitely not. Discipline roles I treat as never having a specialty, because that would be too fucking powerful, and for the many years that I played, everyone always wants to min-max the magic powers.
Don't you have like
And
a very
there's like the
expensive?
discipline prodigy or something, like a super expensive merit that allows it,
Yeah.
yeah, but that was the one exception.
And it's never worth it to take it.
Now, if you had been a real Chad and really done your research, you would have taken the hidden diablerie merit.
Oh, that's the best one. I miss making characters with Infertile Vitae, Beacon of the Unholy, and Hidden Diablerie.
Okay, let's. Before I give final stamp of approval, I want to take a look at Elysium Regular one more time to make sure I didn't just allow something insanely broken. You spent unusual time in Elysium. Yes, so like the rest of you might. He probably does spend like he's pretty much at every Elysium meeting because he's expected to be to represent his clan in his gopher status. And like for the rest of you who know this game, like he gets to trade up to like maybe level 2 rituals on his own recognizance. Everything else he needs to take to the region for final negotiations anyway. So the kitty stuff he can do.
Just being able to get talk to the region about the important ones is already good.
Hmm. But yeah, like, like, okay, let's train up a rich preppy kid to, talk to the muggles while we do the important magic in the chantry. Also, the Tremere don't really have a domain other than like the collective exclusion zone around the chantry. Except for like the one that acts as the guardian of the chantry because she needs to be able to not go too far from the chantry for obvious reasons. Okay, and let's do it this way. Matt, why don't you roll me a 2d6 to see which clans might have been offended. And this will not be an alphabetical list. This will be a list based on the way I arranged it on. Oh, you really pissed off one specific clan.
Who did he piss off?
I won't tell you, that's a secret, but it's really funny to me. Well, he'll know once he sees the difficulty suddenly increase when interacting with them, but yeah, 2 members of one of the clans in the city are upset with how uppity he has been.
Hope it's not my clan.
Now, can you imagine, like, the just like a sneer curling on the regent's face as you walk in? It's like, what have you got for me today, Stanislav? No, that would be funny as well, right? I'll never tell. Might be Tremere. Might be your sire. Okay, hold on. Quick bio break, and then we can move on to either Dan or Hannah. But final thumbs up, thumbs down group is Stanislav of the good. Naxi, I drink tea is not a valid response.
Sorry, that he was one point. Yeah.
Okay. Then you have passed the test. Listen, Matt, I want you to understand the vibe of this game very well. There is no winning Vampire the Masquerade. This is not the kind of game you win. Every Neonate's default state is, I'm fucked.
It's not about winning, it's about the friends you make along the way
like
and who you can
Fortress.
diabolize.
It's like Dwarf Fortress. Losing is fun.
Yeah, just be ready to talk. You wanted a social character, you have to do the social yourself.
Oh my god.
And
That's the
putting
best
a
part.
phrase wrong or presenting your argument in a bad way is the kind of thing that can make you an enemy in this, especially when you're speaking to someone more powerful. Keep in mind, vampires have a primal demon born of, the first murder inside them, trying to fuck with their heads the entire time. So vampires are even more on edge and willing to make enemies and kill each other than humans are. As bad as people are, vampires are much worse. And yes, the Camarilla is a pyramid scheme and you're on the bottom. If you embrace 3 fledglings during your unlife and they in turn embrace 3 fledglings themselves, someday you will be a powerful elder.
So you just asked for 19 bloods. Is that right?
Well, if you're making thin bloods, then clearly you're well, thin bloods are verboten, Bacon.
I just need to deaperize a bit.
What are you complaining about, honestly? Like, you're what, Gen 10? You're fine.
Yeah, I'm completely fine.
See? The pyramid works.
The pyramid works.
It's my
Nice.
character that needs to worry. And
Okay.
and I'm after the rights.
I'll be right back. I need to take a quick bio break. If anyone needs to go, go now. And we'll continue
Yes.
with the others. Like, Nexi, I might leave you till the last because I know that you're the good kid. I don't need to check your workbook as carefully. I know it'll be neat and the answers will be mostly correct. Oh, looks like everyone took my advice and fucked off. Tell me, Matt, are you scared yet?
Like, okay, while everyone else is absent, I think we can discuss something quickly.
Uh-huh.
I need to say sorry for being annoying and asking, like, writing in the chat too often. It seems to me that it is, how to explain, creating my character is the hardest thing for you. Like,
Oh, don't worry, like you don't realize how much trouble designing that Sire gave me until I came up with an idea that works. He gave me very little to work on. Listen. You're new to this game. Bacon, you see how buttery smooth his effort is? That's because he's played Vampire the Masquerade on and off, mostly on, for like 9 years.
wow.
We played Vampire the Masquerade a lot. This is mine and Bacon's most played game, right? This is your first vampire character. You're new to this. Like, don't worry about it. You're doing fine. Like, you're doing some stupid shit, but it's the kind of stupid shit everyone who's new to this game is drawn to, right? it's not that bad. Like, as a new player getting into this, like,
Yeah.
you're not that annoying. Like a 7 or 8, I would rate you. Could be better, but you're more than okay. But yeah, just like important to remember in this game, like, you're not even inquisitorial acolytes in this. In terms of like social standing, you're like those poor schmucks that you were pushing around during the entirety of Dark Heresy, right? You a little less so because you have status, but that means that you're trying to compete on equal terms with vampires who have been doing this for centuries, right? And if they really decide that you are a political problem, they'll find ways to discredit you and turn you into wet paste. This game, it's not a power fantasy. Not when played on the neonate level. And, well, we'll see. Like, we might play this game for a bit. Because it would be a shame to design a city and just leave it at one arc. It depends on how well this goes, of course. Right? But, you know, the power fantasy comes in once you know the game pretty well, and if you can manage to get together a good game of it. The power fantasy comes in on the elder level, right? That's when you're the one pushing around all the NPCs on the board, pulling strings, that sort of thing.
Okay.
But yeah, like, just think of this game as a minefield of mostly social stuff. There are so many things that can go wrong. And, you know, you always have the prince and his authorities looking over your shoulder to see if, like, are you a masquerade breach, right? In a way, this is easier because a city like this, there's less chaos, there are more clear-cut rules and more cues as to what is acceptable. But on the other hand, those rules are enforced, like, harshly.
Okay, I think we can continue.
Okay,
Just before that, very quickly, can you add like just a handout with like the name of the primogens and whatever, like name of the prince on the NPC, so we don't need to click every one of them.
I do plan to make one. I'll make a positions primogen once I've like added everyone, like made all these sheets. It's more that like I kind of tend to make them as characters, and then once I've made them, I'm like, okay, like I figured that they would have a prominent position in the clan. They're good at social. Which one of these would the others actually elect primogen, right? So, you know, and character. I will make this visible, but I won't fill this in now. But yes, I'll definitely make a handout like this. And okay, Dan, the fact that you are no longer vibrating in your seat, eager to get going, worries me. I'm thinking you might be getting tired. And Nyaxi is always sipping tea for the entire session anyway, so I think we're gonna go with you. Fuck you.
Well, I have had quite a bit of coffee.
Uh-huh.
Right, we got my character who's practically an immigrant in a way. He was brought up in a well-to-do family in England. Watched too
The
much.
sheet available, so everyone can take a look-see.
Practically watched too many spy films, so he joined up with some agencies, but was noticed by a roaming Malkavian. For some reason, he came and turned him to make him an apprentice-like person, and then he ended up in Danzig. Just bear with me, don't even have glasses now.
Mhm.
Yeah, he moved, covered up his death. He now mostly uses his skills as an investigator with his ghoul partner. At being Malkavian, he has the curse of seeing hallucinations. He wants to be able to sire his own children. Something he's done that he was against. He's been using blackmail. How he hunts is he uses aspects on people to determine who's like depressed and that kind of thing. Then he moves in and manipulates them into a area where he can easily feed off them.
They turn around at the wrong moment. Ah, shit, you've seen my face, so guess I'm filling up to full.
Num 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 num. He has a former lover technically, maybe on again, off again, a nurse in Danzig. In short, there was another detective that he knew before he was turned. This person does not know that he's a vampire. And none of his sire. He has a code name he goes by, the Watcher. Now, the interesting part is he says not to trust the Ventru or the Tremere.
Reasonable.
But further on, he'll be very wary of how people use their powers around him. His Watcher is no longer here because he did something bad and the prince wanted him blood hunted, and Ethan was there when he met his final end.
Yeah, this is one of the more recent blood huntings that all of you are aware of. You know, an older neonate, right? Like a neonate with some actual years, like halfway to Ancile. The prince was like, just one night, such and such calls himself the Watcher of Clan Malkavian, is blood hunted. Reason being, treason and breaking the traditions. Go get him. And apparently, Ethan, along with some other vampires, got him.
So sad. So no flea diablerie around.
That being said, Ethan very much says that he still speaks to his sire, and that he's sending him cryptic messages. So
He diabolized him. I see.
the prince forbade any testing because that's no one's business. Diablerie. If it happened on the Blood Hunt, the gentleman east of the Nile and the gentleman west of the Nile are two different people.
Essentially, that's the backstory.
And then everyone's sires, even your dead one, will play a role in the chronicle, at least to an extent. I have included him. If he's not around, that means that he's around in how he conducted himself and the legacy left behind before he died.
And it will influence him. So if people say use blood sigils on Ethan without consent, he'll be real pissed off.
Yes, the sire told him not to trust people. So, effectively, he told him not to trust half the fucking party.
I mean, honestly, like, to not trust Venture and Tremere, it's very important. Probably on my piece of paper, it's written, Venture, be scared, Prince, Tremere, wizard nerds, don't trust. Ah, right. Tremere, nerd, got it.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like I want to say that Ethan probably had a bit of a status, like 1 dot, before he helped hunt down his sire. But after that, he kept saying that his sire was alive and was still talking to him. So everyone was like, "Aw, he's gone full Malkavian. Fuck." So we can add the idea that that was a thing, but he lost it because he was too Malkavian. He kept wondering if his sire was gonna arrive at parties and asked people if they invited him and why he isn't there. It was very embarrassing.
He's not high in the charisma, he's high in the lying area.
3 is reasonably high on charisma. Speaking of, you're missing a dot.
Did I? This one was right.
Primary attributes is 7.
Yep, missing one on social.
Oh, okay then. Well, he looks good then.
Yeah, but you just said he's from England.
Well, he did. No, he's been to the dentist.
Oh, alright. That's rare. He really must care about himself.
Okay, take us through the dots, if you would.
Okay, essentially, nothing spent on primary attributes. Bought a few in politics or investigation. I forget which one it was. It was at least 2 dots
Mm-hmm.
somewhere. And then I bought some backgrounds, like 1 point, just to
Well,
fill
we
out the
need
rest
to
of the
match up
dots.
the totals because, okay, you bought 2 points of knowledges. That would match up. Then, let's do it this way. Let's count out the totals, right? Because that way we can total of 7 here. Here it's a total of 13, and here it's a total of 10.
Yeah.
So you will have had to buy 3 dots of abilities, 1 dot of discipline. That is, I want to say 13 points, which means you have 2 extra for somewhere. Which
And he
looks
had
like they have
special-
gone into backgrounds if your merits and flaws are balanced.
Yeah, we went over that.
Okay. And you are one ahead on merits, which means that you need to have one less background.
Okay, guess get rid of the cat-like battles then.
Okay. And yes, Lawman's friend, like the sheriff still likes him and uses him, as do other people. But he has done something for one of the Bruja elders, like our discussion was the Primatron. Once I have the Bruja made, I'll give you a better idea of who and why, right? But he has done something that effectively he knows something that could embarrass or damage one of the Bruja elders or powerful ancilla, and that is an unhealthy situation where you're within crusading range. So maybe his loss of status previously was because of this. Actually, he's just been discredited as the crazy Malkavian who still speaks with his sire. Ooh, how horrible! Because like he sees one person, like it's not that horrible a Malkavian flaw, honestly, as these go. There's worse Malkavians by far.
I mean, I noticed that he doesn't have the dementation tree, so he is the worst Malkavian.
No, he wanted to
Dement-
Yeah.
dominate Malk as well, I think.
No, Dimension was right. If there's any spare points, Dimension's probably the way, but it'll mostly get the obfuscate up first so we can cloak the party.
How long do you expect this campaign to go?
As long as it takes. I'm kidding.
I mean, Last Word of Darkness short campaign that I join is on session 154.
What are you talking about?
Radimir's Mage game, session 154.
Oh, that
Last week.
motherfucker. Well, Vampire the Masquerade is very, very conductive to simply, keeping it going, as it were.
Yeah, I really want to eventually get 6 in all my attributes, like in Mage.
You're gonna have to eat your way down a bit first.
That's the plan. Always the plan.
Well, it is legal in this city under specific circumstances, so... Although it is limited to formal blood hunt, so scourging out undesirables is generally not a diablerie permitted situation.
But if they resist the Scourge, can we get a blood hunt for them?
Well, if they get away and, they're like... But it makes your sire look bad because it's like you have to go to the prince and declare an official blood hunt. It's like I can't do my job, sick the entire city on them.
True.
So what you really want to do is discredit some elders in like a descending staircase, right? Just walk into the prince's office. It's like, my prince, the Primogen Council, namely us, have voted. There are no other vampires left in the city. It's your turn to be eaten. Okay. So the maths, thoughts and notes on Ethan. We can discuss the backstory and if anything needs to be added there.
Your contact is the detective guy.
Yes, that's a good question. What's the contact?
Yes, it would be the contact, would be the detective guy.
Alright, yeah. Then it fits well. Trainer.
Otherwise, he can liaise off the ghoul during the day,
No.
so it all works out.
Are you sure you only want 3 willpower?
Weren't we going to roll the willpower? Oh wait, hold on.
Willpower is not rolled in this game, no.
That's right.
It's
I was
based on
thinking of
courage.
something else.
You have only
And
3
humanity should be at 7 because you definitely don't have freebies to buy it up.
Yeah, it is at 7, right? 3, 6, yeah, 7.
Well, I just changed
Okay.
it. It was okay.
Yeah, I think this person wants to maintain their humanity a little bit more.
Okay.
And like, no issues. It's actually like normal for people to have low willpower. It's just that our instinct is to power game and have at least 7.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that, but I was going by the story and what the characters liked.
Like, it makes sense for Leszek because he's constantly fighting and constantly facing danger and he has to overcome because, like, he's used as a pawn to fight. And, like, I treat it as, like, most Ancillary Elders, I tick it up 1 or 2 points at least over, like, what their courage would dictate, but it's, like, the ones that, you know, have a reason to be high that I tick it higher. I think highest I've given out so far is, like, an 8. And that's it. Like, I've been reasonable about willpower levels.
Yeah, above 8 starts to be like almost unreasonable. Like
I mean, even
9 and
8
10
is
are
like a huge amount.
yeah.
Right, now I remember. We were going to roll the blood pool. That's what I got confused.
Mm-hmm. I think that is the thing you're supposed to do in the game. We will roll for how much blood you have in the... on the specific night of the first mission, and I'll give like a +1 for each dot of domain or hurt or fame that you have. Because it makes it easier for you to keep topped up. I think that's a reasonable way to go about it. So it's like 1d10 plus 3 or something that you're supposed to start the game with, and we'll add like the relevant background ratings to it.
Sounds fair.
And, okay. Anyone's thoughts? Or are you ready to render judgment? Do we make Dan start over with a new clan and new character?
I mean, his character's English.
And that is
Kinda
a mark
weird.
against him, but he is a Malkavian, which is a mark for him, so it's kind of balances out.
Makes sense being Malkavian because, like, usually you leave Poland for England, not England for Poland. There's something wrong there.
Oh no, his sire went out to grab someone from out of town. Like, his sire is local.
Oh, so yeah, his sire
He went on a
went to
recruiting
clean
trip.
Toilets.
He went to
clean toilets.
He went to
Okay.
Berlin to grab one of the English spies because he too had watched James Bond, just the Sean Connery ones, right? So he went to Berlin to grab an English spy because he can't just go to London because fucking Brexit, god damn it! And he
Brexit
grabbed
means
himself a
Brexit.
new recruit, like, stuffed him a box, shipped him outside the city limits, turned him, that whole thing.
Yeah, completely fair. Approved.
And I want you to
Fine.
keep in mind, Dan, and this is important, to you, your sire is still alive. You don't say, like, when my sire died. No. Burn that thought out of your brain, even as a player. Whenever some other player says that his sire is dead, you block it out. It doesn't exist for you. That's a lie. That's a voice buzzing in your ear. That's an ad, okay? That doesn't exist. Your sire is alive and he speaks to you and he has a plan, goddammit. So, you said fine, Matt. I assume that's thumbs up Naxi. Raise
Yeah.
your tea glass and either spill it if you disapprove or raise it.
I wouldn't spill tea.
Yeah, that is how your brain deals with it. You just wait politely while the elder tells you that actually, son, your sire is dead. Spends 5 minutes putting a hand on your shoulder, trying to explain to you. You just nod along. This is a wonderful art gallery. Did you make that? Just keep on. It's hypnotic.
And I do hope the watcher gets to see this new painting. I'm going to show it to him tomorrow.
Snaps picture. Click. Okay. So you have our stamp of approval. And Nyaxi.
Yeah.
Fuck you. How dare you. Get fucking started.
I mean, my character's pretty normal, unfortunately. I should have made a meme.
Wait, anyone made a meme character?
Of course not.
Don't provoke me, I know how to make meme characters.
I can't see his character. Is Hannah?
Yes, I will make Hannah visible. There you go.
If Hannah has 3 points in dominate, I just gonna cancel it.
No, kill yourself. I had it before you. And you should have been forced to take overextended, by the way.
Fuck.
Listen,
You're not special
Dominate
anymore.
3 is not something you can have too much of. Dominate is one of the most especially in a party with 2 new players who don't know how to survive the world of darkness. Dominator is something you want. It's how you save yourself from a blood hunt in this city.
In character, I don't know how to survive the world of darkness, so it's very useful.
Then Bacon is playing a stupid character once again, so...
Yeah, it's interesting how all my characters are always stupid, even when I try to make them not.
Yeah, it's almost like there's some sort of a connection there, some common factor between all the characters you play that makes them stupid. Listen, don't worry about it. It's not about having a unique skill set. It's about having a unique character. So, Nyaxi. How do you wish to start? Do you want to start with the story or the dots?
I can start with the dots.
Alright.
It's the important part.
Let's see. 9 total, 5 total. Okay, so nothing spent on abilities. I see you've bought a bunch of backgrounds, some willpower, I want to say, and a discipline dot. And I assume it's slightly... No, merits and flaws are supposedly balanced based on notes. You left two over for just in case. Cool.
Right. That's very direct. Everything.
Let me just double check. Yeah, 5 on that. Absolutely. Okay, I think the math is a mathing.
Yeah, math checks out.
Okay, let's take a look at the story and see if... Take us through the story, Naxi. Let's see if this is fitting.
Okay, born in Berlin. But the family was Prussian. But they came mostly to Germany after World War II for reasons. But yeah, some family is still in Poland. That's why Hannah studied law first in Berlin, then later in Danzig, and became a lawyer, specializing in like cross-border legal stuff, corporate law. One of the clients was the front for my sire's interests.
Yeah, it was some sort of a Polish agricultural concern.
Yeah. And my sire took an interest in me because of my understanding of the modern legal codes and because of my Prussian lineage.
Yes, strong Aryan features. Exactly what she needs.
And yeah, she impressed me and forced me to like turn my life around so as it suits her. Um, my personal goal is getting more independence from my sire. I'm currently bloodbound to her. And I would like that to not longer be the case. What I value most is my small domain and haven. Hunting method is really nothing special, I guess. I think that is pretty average, going out and finding prey that way. Using dominate when necessary. Or
So,
buying blood when, the...
yes, like the one person that this works with, even though it tastes like ass, is actually Stanislav's sire. Because like the blood is cleansed of any character, so it's like it doesn't have anything that makes you reject it. It just tastes like complete fucking crap because it's magically cleansed.
Yeah, in the wild, my preference is for intellectuals. That's not in the bio, that's on the sheen.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, let's see, my important people that are human are my uncle, Gregor. He lives near Gdansk.
Nope. Yes.
They got
Yes. German internet not good today.
Yeah, we'll wait a second. I'm sure
It's-
we'll be back. Like it was crappy
it's-
for me as well.
It's probably the German government saying, wait, a German's moving to Poland? That's illegal.
Okay, but you can read much of this in the bio. Hannah is white knuckling through the blood bond, trying to good girl her way out of being a slave to her sire.
Why would she
Now,
do that?
If we
Totally.
only knew what a Voldori is.
Well, maybe you'll get
Yeah.
the chance to learn.
I think that if you know, my character's compelled to kill yours. It's his job.
No, your job is to get rid of the undesirables, which might involve the occasional Sabbat pack, but like if a like you don't decide which of the normies needs to dive. Like your job is to deal with the people who don't have the nod from the same prince of you have our permission to exist within our domain, right? It's the tradition of the main. Without his word of acceptance, you are nothing. You are turning the nothing into ash, right? That's your job.
Yeah, no, I'm just considering like if you're a shit neonate and now you're going to Sabbat, you turn into nothing, right?
No, you're still accepted. You just get blood hunted and you're eatable.
Oh, even better, right?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
like once they're accepted, they blood hunt
What
is
are
the
your disciplines
mechanism by
again?
which you expel.
Ethan, what are your disciplines again? I could really do with Auspex. Yes, you should find out about Vodery.
He's Malkavian,
Sadly,
though.
yeah, and he doesn't have any generation. Dementation is good. They can get dementation allowed.
He doesn't have any. Where would you pick up the basics by instinct?
True. Okay. Learn about the Vodery after you get one out of dementation.
I think Naxi was still talking for a bit there.
I don't know how long it was actually. I didn't really pay attention
About
to
5
it.
minutes ago, you were just talking about your uncle. So important people won.
Okay, I mean, yes, my uncle, my ex-law firm partner, the bartender was probably also my landlord. Yeah, I don't know. There's not really that much here that I haven't. Like, I just went over it for 5 minutes. Sorry that you didn't see it. But yeah, the most important character thing is my relationship to my sire, probably because is what my goal, getting more independence relates to, and what is
that's actually
causing me the most trouble.
As intended by the list I gave, because like the sire relationship for Neonate is the most defining thing.
Yeah, exactly. My life is very much defined by Gertrude and the blood bond I have to her.
And yeah, like I see that you mentioned that it instills fear in you that Gertrude, like the secure position Gertrude has. I gave her 4 points of status, and she is one of the kindred that occasionally hosts Elysium because her domain is like the Baltic Opera House and surroundings in Danzig, so she owns like a major feature of the city effectively.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Okay, anything else we want to go over? Why am I looking at Gertrude? Okay. Yeah, like you have, like there has been that start of Gertrude slowly pulling back. It's like, you've taken off the training wheels, you've held on to the back of the bike, and then there's that moment where the kid is kind of balancing on his own, and you're like, I could just like let go, run alongside. It's like, okay, no, no, not like that, It's just like that. Okay, like maybe you can cycle on your own now. Let's see very carefully. It's like that sort of moment, right?
Yeah, hopefully.
Where, like, are you gonna fall on your face now? Let's check, right? But yeah. So thoughts.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
What's your character's combat stats? As I see, you have 0 in firearms, 0 in melee, and I don't think that presence is a combat thing.
Yeah, my character's a social character.
We need
Do you
combat when we have a
Hannah has
Lezek.
never had to fight in her life. Why would she have combat skills?
like any combat skills? Like,
No.
okay.
I mean, this is
Mm.
technically a frontline city with the Sabbat, but it's a very strong Cameral city, and they have a strong Bruja clan who pride themselves on trading favors for people who need to deal with threats in a violent way. So it's not like everyone needs to know how to fight. It's like, excuse me, Mr. Bruja Primogen, sir. Some Sabbat ghouls have been staking out my haven and domain. Could you send someone to help, please? And then they, ask for major boon and you have to give it, and then they send two neonates to clear the riffraff out.
Yeah, it has its downside of not being able to do your own protection, but it can compensate if you're just being very good at other things and can trade for it.
I rolled for political influence / favor zone, right? The Tremere rolled an 8, the Nosferatu a 10, and the Bruja a 9. So those are the clans everyone knows to. You want wards around your place for the next year? Sure. Trade a favor to the Tremere. You want to know why the Sabbat are there or if you're in real danger? Well, the Nosferatu have got you covered, bitch. They probably knew before the prince did. In fact, they probably told the prince, right? And the Bruja, well, if you need to evict some assholes next door, well, guess who you go to? That's why these clans are owed a fuck ton of favors. Because, this is a secure enough city and the Sabbat don't roll in with 50 fucking vampires to try and take over. They are more deliberate about it, which gives the camp time to respond. And it responds via the clans that are, specialized in responding. The Ventru aren't a clan that do a lot of their own fighting these days.
Cringe. Back in the old days, every Ventru had his own night company.
Besides, Hannah is a relatively low generation Ventru. If it's more than 3 people, she's probably fucked anyway. If it's 1 or 2, dominate.
And I thought my character was weak in combat.
I think
If you're not a Bruja, you are by definition weak in combat.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no, yeah, Ethan is actually half decent with firearms.
Okay.
But that's probably because he plans on actually taking off his sire on his own. Hannah doesn't plan to kill her sire, she plans to, gain status socially. So I guess now that you know each other's characters, do you want to adjust anything to function together better as a group? Maybe free up some backgrounds to pull them? I will allow a maximum of 1 pulled background per person and 1 free pulled background. So you can go above 3 on pulled backgrounds. So if you wanted to be fucked ton of rich or collectively control a powerful domain, this would be your chance to do that.
Nah, fuck the others.
Let's be rich and let's buy ourselves some guns.
If you want a lot of guns, there is a background called Arsenal. For each dot, you can get 5 long guns. So rifles, assault rifles, shotguns, that sort of thing. So if you wanted to have a box of guns, you could with a dot of Arsenal.
I don't have enough dots
that
to
could be
spread
your
around.
free background dot. Okay guys, the
Oh,
mission we are
we
on,
have a free one.
Yeah, you have 1 free one. 1 free for the party, not for each person.
Yeah.
So you can go up to a maximum of 5 pulled backgrounds.
Arsenal, either Arsenal or Collective Domain are the best options for a pulled background.
Something to be said for a lot of money.
Yeah, but for a lot of money we need we need to pull individual background instead of just using the free one for
Yeah,
one
exactly.
arsenal or one domain. And I don't really have enough to spread around
I
my
will
backgrounds
say that
to
you are
pull
gonna
some.
be sent by the Camarilla to handle a problem. Domain comes with legal rights in the Camarilla, which is what makes it so valuable. In particular, like in theory, in practice it might be different, but in theory, Hannah, if people come into the shitty bar under her haven, even if it's like a primogen, she can just go, I don't want you here, fuck off. Now, you know, whether they actually leave and what the consequences will be for telling a powerful elder to go fuck themselves, just because it's technically your domain, is, a different question. But legally, she has every right to do that. So, what does the rest of the party think? Guns? Domain?
Yeah, I'm up it for both of those, but I myself don't use really guns. Like I have one dot, but So it's up for those that depend on it, decide if they prefer arsenal or not.
Also, keep in mind that I don't know what Poland's gun laws are like, but I don't think anywhere in Europe is as crazy as America. So if you have dots in
Closest is
firearms and
Switzerland.
yeah, if you have dots in firearms and if you have at least some resources, you probably have a light revolver or light pistol, but you don't have the good guns, right? So you have like a Makarov, Matt.
Mm. And my bodyguard as well.
You wanted specifically a bodyguard ghoul. He probably has like a Glock or some other modern, well-maintained light pistol because he probably has a bodyguard license.
Mm.
Like it makes sense for like
Actually,
he's actually allowed to legally carry firearms. You're not.
hmm. Can we take a pooled background weapons license?
That would
Now,
fall under
alternative identity.
alternate identities, and you would have to have some kind of a legal standing. Like maybe you're like you have the legal filing of a bodyguard company and you have bodyguard licenses that are right, but you would have to have at least like I would say it would be like 4 dots, honestly, to have all the
Okay.
paperwork covered because you need to have an electronic trail and like they check that shit like. And
Okay.
keep in mind, like, those guns would be registered, so if they get fired off and bullets get discovered at the crime scene, like, the ballistics will be able to track them to you eventually. Because, like, having legal guns, it goes both ways, right? Like, what you have is a random Makarov, what your bodyguard has is, like, a actually registered Glock, right?
Okay, checking the gun laws, like the most basic stuff in Poland is self-defense. You can have centerfire pistol and revolvers from 6 to 12 millimeters. So you can't really have a standard 9 millimeter gun because they are rimfire, not centerfire. But technically, you can have a 357 Magnum revolver.
Okay, so now we can understand that firearms cache is useless for us because we cannot use it even if we have it.
You
Well,
can.
listen, even in America, if four guys roll up with AK-47s to a mall and murk a Sabat pack along with all their ghouls, they're gonna send a SWAT, okay? Like, the,
I doubt that. Like, we see how
well, okay,
America is
like the
doing.
sheriff is gonna get a call. It's like, listen, you fucker, is yes, master. Sorry, master. Yes, I
They will,
understand. It's
they
you.
will send the police, but the police will just sit there watching because they're
Yeah,
scared.
it's gonna be like that terror attack in Moscow, right?
Okay, so let's take a domain then.
Domain does decrease difficulties in hunting in that area.
I think a collective domain is more important, yes.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to commit any points to this?
I don't have any points to commit.
Uh, did anyone pick high politics? Because I think the most we had is like 2 points, right?
I
I
have
have
2 points.
Okay. Next, you had 2 points left over. Do you have a preference for where to stick it?
And I might buy hurt, I might take something up to 4, I'm not sure.
Looking at this, law or etiquette, if you're trying to suck up to your sire real card, might be good. Law might be the most useful to a person because you can lawyer people into not getting arrested or getting out the same night so they don't burn in the sun when they get picked by police.
Yeah, I think I'll up law and see what the specialties are.
Oh
I
no,
could
no,
probably
actually,
sacrifice an etiquette if that's allowed.
it's more easy to find center fire than rimfire. So yeah, most of the standard pistols you can easily get in Poland for self-defense. It's just more
Is it
obscure
background checks
shit.
and getting licenses, or are they just sold out? Because I assume there's some kind of paperwork you have to fill, which is problematic
Yeah,
for
you need
vampires.
to, like the most basic self-defense, you need to like prove that you have some sort of threat to your life or property. And if the government approve, you can get pretty much any basic modern military pistol.
Okay, so I would say that in order to legally buy guns, it's probably like alternate identity 3 because you need to have pretty much perfect electronic identity and paperwork.
Yeah.
Like you need to be a person in the system.
And after that, like the second, yeah, like probably easier is the hunting license. You can only have hunting shotguns and rifles. They're probably easier to forge a hunting license than self-defense. Don't need to send that much paperwork, but it's more restricted, like those shitty long guns with very low caliber and some very basic and bad shotguns.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes, you can remove an etiquette to free up some. Actually, no, you can't because that is the one where you didn't spend freebies in skills, Dan. Like you are a total of 13 there, that was your primary. You can just move it around to another dot.
Then I guess we could maybe alternate identity.
You want to put it into pulled?
Yeah.
Yeah, you could take down alternate identity. You have like a fake you only have like a fake driver's license then or something. You had some points left over, Nyaxi, but you put those into law, so you're out.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, and if you put 4 points into domain, that's already pretty well, so.
Well, 3. Bacon isn't committing any either.
Don't we
Yeah,
all get a 3 point towards pooling?
No, it's 1 free point total.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, like it's... I ain't gonna be that generous. You're a very new coterie. If you had been established before getting sent on this job, then I would give you more, but... But yeah, and let me check what the specialties are on charisma and manipulation and wits, because shooting sure as hell ain't a specialty on wits. So we can make sure that Dan's stuff is yes, the 6+ powers of presence, lovely memories. It's backgrounds. At least this book isn't in 3 fucking columns, thank fuck. Okay, let's see. Charisma. Grace, smooth talker. charisma specialties. I'm just gonna copy, paste these because Conjurer of Facts is such a dated way of saying a master of fake news.
Nothing better than Conjure Facts and what's the other for subterfuge?
By deception, by persuasion, I mean making an argument, which is hard for me as a player. So I think rewarding a good argument would be meaningful. By
Think it's
deception, I mean lying,
Okay,
just straight
just
up lying.
let's
think maybe
like specialties are more about how you go about thing, not a I'm good at using this particular ability with this attribute.
yeah. So for like in general deception, depending on where you go, I usually like would go for lying, conjure of facts because you just came with bullshit on the spot. But persuasive or well reasoned might be better if you are trying to do more subtle lies.
Yeah, so you when you come up with a, I will say that the regent is not so much an inspiring leader. He's more the kind that will lay out the logic of a decision in front of you and try and convince you with facts and rationality. So he would value more the well-reasoned approach. So if you're trying to suck up to your betters, they're like,
Yeah, well reasoned is good for manipulation. I agree.
Yeah, you can interact those libtards with facts and logic. You say that, Naxi, but the best appearance specialty is memorable pose because you can LARP a JoJo character.
I will say that I will treat appearance less as just looking good and more like body language, how you carry yourself.
Yes, so charisma graceful means respectful to everyone.
Sure, it can mean that, yes. Yeah,
The
that's
problem is those specialities aren't described in the book.
no,
They
they
just
are
give the
at the
name.
end of the thing. They are the like, well, then they don't elaborate what they mean,
Yes, that's the
but
problem.
it's kind of very much up to this. The like, is this a situation where being graceful could make this substantially better, right? Kind of thing. And
Mm.
oh, I'm looking at appearance. That is wits isn't used, by the way, for shooting. I want to make that clear. It's useful for using path powers for thaumaturgy, but
Yeah, so I cannot use it to buff dramaturgy, so I'll use it to
like
getting
yeah, like it's
getting jump on others. Uh, Basically, as much as I understand, it means to ambush someone. Not exactly ambush, but to initiate a firefight.
you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna see how the internet defines this. What's the definition? To get or have an early advantage over someone by acting quickly or doing something first. So it's seizing the
Yes,
initiative. So it's like it might be
yes,
like a wits expression to like
acting first.
try and get an
It's
advantage in
about getting the
negotiation.
first turn.
Yeah, kind of. Like it won't help with actual initiative, but it will help if you're trying to like seize the advantage in like a argument or situation by, you know. being faster. Okay, I think we have an idea of the party. I think everyone has some. I think this is a very social group, and everyone has something they can do besides that. I think you're actually very well suited to this city and what I'm gonna have you do, which is excellent. And we have exactly one person with a basic amount of aspects, which is perfect. That's the other discipline which is always useful, generally speaking, on top of dominate. But like dominate, like having two dominators is a really good place to be in, especially with a
Yeah,
lot of new players, especially if you are the new player.
Dominate's so good, like best discipline.
It kind of turns like a bad hunting role from becoming a case of, okay, you've seen too much, I have to kill you, and then I have to get rid of the body, and then someone saw me doing that and I have to get rid of them, and before the night is over it's like a dozen people getting sunk into the Baltic, and it turns it into, I take them aside and I mind wipe them. Like it saves you from so much shit. Like I know you expect
And
it to
it,
be the only one, but it, trust me, like you'll get a lot of mileage out to dominate. It's a good thing to have.
yeah, the more like it can even help for us to like do it to others as a favor. So with two people with that, we can have one go out and do this for a person, while the other goes out and do it for ourselves, and very good for farming boons.
Oh honey, there's like well, Trimier less so, but there's a lot of Entro in this city. Actually, how many are there? Not as many as the Malkavians or the Toreador, but a lot. Like, then again, like you might get some traffic, come to think of it, because an Elder is gonna fuck you harder with a boon than Neonate. That's the upside.
Yeah, and it's much easier for a random neonate to approach another neonate and approach another and ask for a favor. Just the social pressure of that is already difficult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in terms of domain rules here, by the way, they're draconian as well. Like, the city streets are the prince's domain. If you step outside your car or the bus or public transport onto the sidewalk, you just violated someone's domain if they own that block. And, like they can, you know, tell you to fuck off at that point. But like you're on their plate. That's how they count it.
Okay, they respect the NAP. Good.
Mm-hmm. Um, if your rights under the traditions are violated, like the social, it's based on status, right? It's based on status a lot. But in theory, you are allowed to escalate, and if they refuse your lawful commands to vacate your property, you are allowed to escalate to violence. You're, but like even in the most extreme cases, torpor at the very most. If you final dead someone, you're a dead man walking. And if you torpor someone, especially someone important, you better have a good reason for it. If someone of equal status walked through my domain a couple of times, that might be a bit much for torporing someone, but if they actually damage your property, yeah, that's valid to torpor them. But it's modified by status. So if someone lesser keeps walking through your domain, like, yeah, no, torpor them, dump the neonate at next Elysium, tell the prince, this fucker kept screwing with my shit. Please mail him to his masters. And yeah, that's the way it usually works. Now, if you don't torpor them and they keep violating your shit, putting a few holes in them as long as they're not torpored is perfectly fine. It's just like, don't take the violence to the point where they're... Beating someone to the edge of torpor and dumping them at the edge of your domain is perfectly valid as a response if they keep fucking with you.
Understandable. And, okay. Will you put on the map, like, general locations of domains so we know where we can't go?
It's kind of like a patchwork thing. So, like, in short, if you don't check in advance, it's gonna be an intelligence politics roll to know if you're walking into someone's domain. Which means that if you do badly, you might not know until someone pops out and is like, okay, children, what the fuck are you doing here, right?
Understandable.
The one thing that will be the exception is probably gonna be the Chantry, because that does have a discrete location. Assume that, like, if there are areas that are more some people than others, I'm gonna try and note them. But city center and along there, Ventru and Toreador land. Ventru and Toreador are very elder heavy, and it's like, it's less that large swaths of city are owned by the clan, it's that individual elders or ancillary claim an important object, like the Baltic Opera House or the Amber Museum, for example. And if you fuck with that or the surrounding areas, then they are like, okay, why are you on my clay?
Just checked, we have 3 characters with intelligence 3 and politics 2, so it doesn't really matter who makes a roll.
Well, it doesn't until all 3 of you fail and no one knows that you're in like someone's domain. It probably doesn't happen a lot because this is a law-abiding city, but Hannah probably has at least one memory of Gertrude pulling on her big hunting boots, taking down her old hunting rifle, and going out with her 2 gold dogs to chase off some assholes that were fucking with her stuff. Some Bruja kids throwing a party in the park across from the opera house.
I think I know the way that Elijah deals with it. He just never gets out of his car.
Well, that's valid
It's
until
not a
the car
problem.
breaks down, right?
That's a good point. And it sometimes breaks down because
Yeah, no, that's
auto
the danger,
drifting.
and the elders don't care. Like, you should have made sure that your car wouldn't break down if you were gonna be driving next to someone's domain.
It's just probably overheating. Just stay inside for like half an hour until it cools down.
Let's take, what page was, like, it's what the very start, right? The first edition. The Masquerade, thou shalt not reveal thy true nature to those not of the blood, doing such shall renounce thy claims of the blood. So, people aren't supposed to know you're a vampire. They aren't supposed to know that you specifically are a vampire, not just that a vampire did a thing. So it's like, people knowing that something supernatural happened is bad. People knowing that you are involved with something suspicious is bad. People knowing that something supernatural and suspicious happened and that you did it is grounds for getting permanently evicted from unlife. Like, the prince is draconian about this, like, and it's also like, people aren't supposed to know that something suspicious happened. Like, you wearing blackface and assaulting people in what looks like an immigrant mugging, that happens. That's normal, right? Just make sure you actually take their wallets, you dumb cunt, when you do this, and everything will be fine.
For sure, take the wallet. I need the money.
But yeah, like, that's the reasoning, right? People aren't supposed to know that the prince doesn't measure this in terms of what would a reasonable person believe. He's been alive for like 1,000 years. He knows people aren't reasonable. No, don't give anything that even conspiracy theorists could latch onto. That's the level of paranoia we're talking about. Don't, because like conspiracy theorists are just hunters waiting to happen if they get onto the real thing. Don't create events that conspiracy theorists can start connecting. That's the standard for security on the Masquerade. Second tradition, the domain. Thy domain is thine own concern. All others owe thee respect while in it. None may challenge thy word while in thy domain. That gets mostly respected, but it's based on status. Which means that a powerful enough elder, if you are disrespecting their position in the Camarilla, can get away with disrespecting your domain. And there probably have been cases in the history where an elder has beaten a neonate near to torpor within their own domain for being too disrespectful, and the prince has just nodded, excellent. A good thing that you developed a lesson to the youngling. That they clearly needed it, you know? It's not based on justice, it's based more on respect. And, status within the Camarilla. It's an aristocratic court. Those who have the prince's favor and recognition are very much favored. The third, progeny, thou shalt only sire another with the permission of thine elder. If thou createst another without thine elder's leave, both thou and thy progeny shall be slain. Status doesn't protect from fucking with this. You create another vampire without permission, even if you are primogen, you're a dead man walking. The prince will bring down the full power of the Camarilla and eradicate you. There is even ghouls, if created in excessive numbers, are cause for suspicion. The prince knows very well how easily vampires can build personal armies, and he's having none of that shit. The moment you start crossing that line, he will eradicate you. With the ghouls, the excuse is that too many ghouls is like, how could you possibly control 4 ghouls? You're not experienced enough as a neonate to do that. So you're risking the Masquerade, which means that you will pick 2 of them, and you will personally execute them on Elysium floor. And if you fail to do this within the next week, then you will be blood hunted, right? Like, if you're trying to build a person, and if you keep trying to have more goals than the prince is willing to let you have, like, you'll get blood hunted. Like, you don't get to build a personal army and come after him or fuck with things.
Wow. I mean, I have 3 cults.
Yeah, you're on the edge of what that's why backgrounds are limited to 3 at most, because like 3 is what he's willing to tolerate. But like that's like you're at the limit of the personal retainers that he thinks is, remotely reasonable. Which means you don't have the room to take another goal if you find a mortal that you like. Next, are you planning to do a little embracing on the side? Perhaps the old girlfriend?
No.
Yeah, could I tempt you with a, siren?
No, I don't want to embrace anyone.
The fourth tradition, the accounting. Those thou create are thine own children. Until thy progeny be released, thou shalt command them in all things. Their sins are thine to endure. The prince expects everyone to manage their own affairs. Ghouls as well, this is applied to, although ghouls are seen more as pets / domesticated animals, namely property. An animal sometimes does stupid shit, right? Whereas siring is a big deal and you're supposed to have perfect control of the situation at all times. Like the prince will genuinely treat any fuck-ups of your children as your own. The fuck-ups of your ghouls, they're treated with a bit of understanding, but the prince won't hesitate to order you to destroy property that has gone feral or rabid. Which, again, like, you're supposed to keep your shit in line, right? The rules are draconian in this city. The fifth tradition, hospitality, honor one another's domain. When thou comest to a foreign city, thou shalt present thyself to the one who ruleth there. Without the word of acceptance, thou art nothing. So here, there is no regular Elysium where anyone can show up. And technically, people don't have rights until they show themselves to the prince. Technically. So in theory, you can get away with nuking newcomers before they present themselves to the prince. In practice, it's less illegal, it's heavily frowned upon, right? To just, outright kill them. But at the same time, it does happen. It's kind of like, well, if you are just immigrating legally and you're a respected member of Camarilla, why is no one vouching for you? Why don't you have a letter of introduction? So it's kind of like, it matters who you are coming in as. If you're a random Nosferatu just crawling into the city, it's like, yes, good, we won't have to bother the Scourge, good job. Whereas if it's like, yes, I sent my child Erasmus with a letter of introduction 2 weeks ago, Prince. How is he doing in Danzig? Did you receive him? No, cousin, we did not receive him. I will investigate forthwith what happened, right?
We received him. He was a degenerate. The Scourge dealt with him.
Well, yeah, that's the thing though. Like, if you're coming with a letter of introduction from like a respected elder from another city in the Camarilla, then it's, right? Like, there's a world of difference. And generally, you will know how to find Elysium, or you'll have some contacts for at least one of the harpies, right? So it's kind of like, it's kind of that situation where technically they don't have any rights, but if they don't have rights just because the formalities haven't been observed and they were clearly going to be accepted in the city, it's at the very least like the next fuck up you do will be your last, no matter how small it is, right? It's something you can occasionally get away with, fucking over newcomers. And it also depends if they're clearly looking for a way to meet the prince and present themselves versus they're just squatting, right? Like squatters. But like it's, in terms of safety, it's safest to call the bosses. And it's not like it's safe to diablerize them anyway, right? Because like they're not blood hunted.
Why would you diablerize the squatters? They're probably high generation.
That too. But yeah, this tradition is weirder, right? Because it depends a lot on what the prince thinks he would have done if they were brought in front of him after the fact, right? So if you decide they're undesirable, you better be damn sure that the prince would have agreed with your opinion, right? But it does give you some leeway in terms of like if a Sabbat pack, for example, or some anarchs or whatever shows up, or God forbid an independent gangrel that wants your clay. You do have the leeway of if you're attacked, like you can definitely fight back, right? And like you can definitely chase them off or torpor them if they fuck with your shit, or even if they keep being present on the edges of your domain without presenting themselves also to the prince, right? Like you can take matters into your own hands if it's like they're violating this tradition of hospitality. It's more that effectively try not to fuck with ones who are making a good faith effort to observe it, rather than people who are violating it. Like it's technically legal until they're accepted to fuck with them, but it's kind of seen as bad taste and using a shitty loophole at best, right? I mean, it's the kind of thing that makes you look like an asshole.
And so, it's on my paper. New people politely ask first who introduced them. If you don't understand the name, just nod.
But yeah, like it's like someone's gonna see them eventually anyway, right? Like people will know that there's a strange vampire around, right? That or people will start going missing because it's a Sabbat who's actually competent.
Sabbat and competent usually don't go together.
Yeah. And
Actually, I forgot. In lore, after Tegan Grow leave the Camarilla, is anyone replacing them?
Banu Hakim and La Sombra and Bruja leave as well in V5, but not yet, not in the lore version we're playing.
Okay.
So, not yet, no. And the sixth tradition, destruction. Thou art forbidden to destroy another of thy kind. The right of destruction belongs only to thine elder. Only the eldest among thee shall call the blood hunt. The prince is the only one who is allowed to dispense final death. If you final death someone by accident and that involves using fire, even magical fire, your ass is grass. So, casual Malkavian pranks like barring the doors of your rival's haven and tossing in a Molotov are right out.
In 1984. Literally 1984.
But yeah, like with the other traditions, we've kind of gone over with roughly what is viewed as acceptable. And yeah, it's a very orderly sitting that Camarilla way, right? Like the rules are strictly enforced and they kind of sort of mostly function. And the prince is extremely low generation and the sheriff is terrifyingly competent. The scourge, less so, but it's more the threat, right? Like you don't want obvious gatherings of assholes. We'll wait until Nyaxi joins. I'll give some rundown of the elders I've made so far, like a little bit. Yes, the Tremere Regent. Definitely an elder, though on the younger side for elders. Definitely past the Ancillate point. Very good at thaumaturgy, as Tremere go. Can do even very powerful rituals. And, the prince probably has access to things like Bone of Lies and other spicy things because of this. He's kind of like that, not necessarily a nerd, but that well-educated cultured guy that prefers to win through logic and arguments rather than doing the standard vampire thing of intimidating everyone into going along with his thing. He's like, that polite guy. And speaking of thaumaturgy, go to the thaumaturgy section in the book, Matt, and take a look at level 1 rituals. You get to know one of those at game start.
Okay, I'll check. But I didn't see any rituals. If you
they're
will
under
tell
the
me
paths.
the page.
They're under the pass. The other Tremere, they are, I think, generally youngish Ancillate or older, and the Guardian of the Chantry is an older neonate. They're not a very old clan as these things go. So Celine is a older neonate, and Viktor Kovac and Gregor Reiter are Ancillate level. Emilia is the Scourge, of course. The Watcher was an older neonate. According to his child, he is still very much alive and communicating. However, not many people know her. Dr. Helena Novak is another neonate, a very respected neonate, slightly older than Stanislav, but of equal status. And she doesn't spend all her time schmoozing in Elysium. She's just very well liked because she helps people deal with her shit and she keeps their secrets without taking sides. Which does make her a bit of a target because if you can torture her or mind read her into giving you people's secrets, like, oh boy, you win. But yeah. Then we have Gabriel Sizzler, who is the Malkavian Primogen. He is very much the kind of guy that will beat you into submission, and he keeps the Malkavians in line by applying the strong backhand of the, authority of their sires to them.
He's the most shad Malkavian I ever saw.
Absolutely. He's kind of in that line where he's kind of like an older ancile, but he's on that line where some people are going like, maybe he should be called an elder, right? Like in the New World, he would probably be considered an elder. Here, not so much. And then we have Luna, who is these days cosplaying as a goth girl, and she very much is an elder, but and she has a significant chunk of domain. I haven't decided where exactly, but she owns like a set of city blocks, like, or maybe she just has like a whole suburb neighborhood that's hers, right? And she keeps people out. It's her domain, and she just wants to vibe, right? Like, she has a tech girl thing going on. If anyone needs a custom gaming PC built, you go to her. She's enjoying modern culture, and she's just like, and she's one of the people who dare to criticize the prince openly. As a result, her status in polite kindred society is less than Stanislav's, but people still don't fuck with her, and the prince doesn't take her domain away because, like, that would start a shitstorm. And you don't want a powerful Malkavian pissed with you.
Right. She's the closest too, but I don't see a fishmouth.
The fishmalks have had significant evolutionary pressure exerted on them by the rules of the city to not exist.
Oh, so they all migrated
Yeah.
to England.
No, like most of them got killed. Like the prince.
Guys, I need to ask about ritual. So I'm choosing a ritual which is basically you make a 6 meters radius circle where sunlight cannot go in. Is it a good choice?
If you're gonna be sleeping outside your normal haven at any point, it can be an excellent choice.
Just in case.
Yeah, that's a non-horrible one. It is very reasonable and a good choice for paranoia too.
Yeah, it's also very cheap to set up. Yeah, it's a good one.
But yeah, like Luna's domain is kind of like, I gave her 8 dots of domain, so she has a good chunk of domain with a reasonable amount of security, right? So it's she has a part of the city on lockdown, so it's like one of the places where it might be safe to not be super. Of course, I support the prince. I'm loyal to the prince. I love the prince. If he would let me kiss his boots, I would, right? But, like, you know, she's one of the few elders and openly opposing forces and critics to him. Like, she uses her age and her status, even as suppressed as it is, effectively by criticizing the prince to, well, criticize the prince. Like, she doesn't do it in the Angry Bruja way, but like if the prince does stupid shit in Elysium, she will occasionally go around and do the nines thing, like, no, this is bullshit. Like, guys, really, are you really gonna stand for this? This is stupid. Why? Right? Like she's one of the few people who can do that and get away with it.
As my experience with the Venture Prince, that's a sort of Malkavian. You kidnap while they were tortured by a unrelated incident and try to find out after them.
The prince does avoid killing elders who are established figures because elders have friends, they have popularity. At the very least, they're well known. Like, it's not like ordering the Watcher killed.
Huh? They just disappeared after this weird werewolf attack. They were bringing her to her haven and the car disappeared. Those werewolves might have come back for revenge.
Yeah, I'm sure they have. What else? Uh, Among the Toreador, Theophil is. Yeah, he's a Toreador elder who very much got into Tai Chi and movement meditation, and he is a very graceful and physically adept Toreador as a result. And well, dexterity is king, right? In combat, like he can definitely disassemble a bitch. It's not like many people have seen him fight, but it's like an urban legend, like about the things he can do. Then I'm just gonna pronounce it as Katarina because the Polish version with extra consonants is ass.
Why did you choose Poland? If out of places with reasonable languages, you choose the one with not.
I don't know, because it's Danzig, right? It's the meme.
No, it's Gdansk.
To the prince, it will always be Danzig.
For everyone, Gdansk is such a stupid word, like most in Polish.
Okay, but Katarina, she's very much a Toreador artist. However, her medium is human bones, and she carves them into various types of decoration and ornamentation. And in particular, she values bones with a story for them. Like, you could probably get at least a moderate boon if you brought her the bones of the last person to die in a concentration camp in Poland. For example,
Right.
The story matters, right? It has to be a bone with a story behind it. Like, that's her art form.
Right, she's totally a Toreador. She has her Toreador dirt under her bed.
But that's her art form. Then you have Isabella, who has graduated from originally working wood like centuries ago to a form of life that is a far superior and challenging canvas, the living body. And she, all types of surgery, from plastic to neurosurgery to repairing the body in 100 different ways, is like her art form.
Why another Tsumitsu?
I don't know. I think Katarina is more of a harbinger of skulls. It's more of a Cappadocian thing.
True.
Besides, everyone's like, oh, I'm a painter. Another one. Another painter, really? And then the Toreador's like, oh. Besides, assume that, Toreador for their numbers rolled like a 9, which means that there's 10, 12 ancillary or elders in the city. I'm picking out the ones that are unique and interesting and might be useful to the party and presenting them. The boring ones I'm leaving without sheets.
They need at least names and pictures, though.
It's too much. I'm not gonna bother. Among the Nosferatu, Isabella is a neonate on the same level of experience as you. Actually, no, I gave her some. So she is somewhat older, but she's been through a lot of shit. She's probably similar in actual age to Leszek, but she has been involved with shit from day one. And I'm just gonna treat it as similar in age, but having had to go through a lot. Actually, did I actually spend it, or did I pretend I did? Oh, I didn't spend any of it, so no, she is a 0 experience neonate, never mind. I was considering spending experience on her. So yeah, she used to be a journalist. She's one of the small number of neonates in the city. The clans here, it's an old city, and they embrace slowly. Uh, Vasily Chernov and Irina Volkova are like the kind of like the public faces of the Nosferatu clan. Irina serves as primogen. Vasily kind of keeps the clan in line, and they're on Sile level. Like the Nosferatu, they're actually this is missing 5 XP. Let's just put it into firearms or something. The Nosferatu, they're one of the youngest clans in the city. Like they're actually the youngest clan by average. So those two are probably the oldest, and they're barely old enough for the Primogen Council to take them seriously. And then we have Felix Drajek, also known as Byte. Felix always has a wonderful investment opportunity for you in the growing and exciting field of crypto investing.
Reasonable.
Felix also always wears red tinted sunglasses and a red coat. And imagine a sort of gravelly, like someone has a cold starting, just like a closed up voice that's sort of slimy the way it presents themselves. He's very good at manipulating certain types of people, but he's extremely unlikable and also very, very fucking rich, especially for Neonate. And he always has a new shitcoin for you. I hope you enjoy him. And then, yeah, we have the sires, Gertrude. Gertrude runs the opera house. Hannah knows more about her, but she has that old country nobility vibe. Let's go with that. And she definitely has that. Oh yes, let's go fox hunting on the weekend, guys. Vibe. And as far as the rest, I'm thinking like like 4 sheets for each clan, maybe 1 or 2 extra for especially important positions. So I'm little more than halfway done with the NPC list for the city.
How many vampires on the city you're going for?
Gdansk proper, maybe 70-ish, but there's 2 cities in the same metropolitan area which are added to this, so overall something 100 and change.
Really?
Well, you have Sopot, another big city to the north.
That's a lot.
Well, it's a big domain, a powerful one. But like those neighboring cities, they're not seen as separate. There's another 300,000 people to the north of Sopot.
Yeah, like the metropolitan area is like 1,000,000, but even though like
it's
100, it's
10k to 1. So is the rating we normally go with. So 100 is no, you're absolutely right. It should be like 10 vampires for this entire thing if we go by the official number, but the official number is
no,
stupid.
yeah, official number is stupid, but like 100, I think gets like, maybe to be a bit too much. I'm not sure. That's a lot.
100 is about right for the entire metropolitan area, I think.
Like I don't know. Usually on our new board games, we don't have that much people, even when the cities are very populous. And
it was
think
half
there
a million in New Orleans, and it was like 60 vampires.
Really, that were so many there?
Mm-hmm. There is a fuck ton of sheets.
God, that's a lot.
Like I remember the ratios. I'm sticking to the ratios.
Yeah, we need to reduce our population. It's too much.
Well, a lot of them get killed. That's why it's a very old domain, generally speaking, because maybe the Nosferatu are the youngest, not because they are given more embrace rights, but because they stay underground and hide their own from the Prince's wrath when someone fucks up. so they survive more. But yeah, like 100 vampires overall. We have Bruja and Toreador, or sorry, not Bruja and Toreador. Ventura and Toreador are the core of the Cameral society here, very traditionally. Bruja and Tremere provide valuable services, and if anyone is kind of in opposition, it's mostly the Malkavians and maybe the Nosferatu, because they are so young and they have a lot of people who haven't had any kind of idealism beaten out of them. But yeah, as far as opposition is concerned, there isn't even an anarch presence here so much as there is a reformist Camarilla presence, right? And that's mostly centered around the Malkavians, which has its own problems.
Yeah, Anarchy always seems a more American thing for me.
Yeah. So that's roughly the political landscape, right? And like the Bruja, like, I mean, they're providing a valuable. Like the Bruja would be happy to have a different prince that wasn't vengeful. Like they don't give a fuck if it's another vengeful, right? Like they wouldn't mind taking over, but again, even they are elders who dream of the glory days of the clan when they were among the high clans, so that they too are reformer. I guess you could
The
say
good
that.
old times in Carthage.
I guess Bruja are also somewhat reformer. The Nosferatu. Yeah, the Nosferatu are doing the traditional Nosferatu thing. They're not picking sides, much like the Tremere. They're just providing a service. So it depends on which way the wind is blowing any given month, right? Like who is considered to be more in opposition to the prince. The Nosferatu, like, they just want to protect their own, but that looks like defying the prince as well, right? And the Bruja, well, the prince is Ventrue, so they are in opposition by definition, right? Except when they're not. But the Toreador, yeah, they don't really step out of line, and the Tremere are. A lot of the existing elders and the prince, etc., owe them boons, so it might be possible to flip them to reform, because I know that some of you are already plotting rebellion against the regime. I know how players' minds work. Obviously, there are some cracks here, but they are. Like, the edifice of the Cameral is well worn and the cracks are well papered over, right? And the people who are most likely to be okay with trying to change things, the regime owes a lot of boons to, right? So anything that kills off any of the elders that, or destroys the power of the elders that owe them, they would be against. Because they stand to lose a great deal that the game would have to outweigh it. And then on top of that you have the risk. So it's like, you have reformers, but generally speaking, for the people with the power, the risk and loss of changing the regime far, far outweighs the gain. Which makes for stable monarchy. For once, let's have a Camarilla city that is actually, in control of its shit.
Right. Important question. What is the closest Sabbat stronghold city?
Probably Eastern Poland. You're not that far off.
Important city. Like, yeah, it's Eastern Poland, but it's a very invest-friendly region in general.
I don't know. Like I would have to open the world map, but definitely Lithuania is Sabbat. So
Right.
Vilnius is one of the close strongholds.
Okay.
Maybe Memel, if Memel is a large city.
No, it's a very small city. It goes for Klaipėda these days.
But yeah, it's kind of like Poland is kind of caught between the Sabbat and the Camarilla, but Camarilla control the national legislation, so they can be said to own the country. But the eastern part is Sabbat. Like, think of it kind of roughly in terms of the partition that was between the Nazis and the communists. Roughly along that line is where the Camarilla and Sabbat influence splits.
Right.
We'll go with that. Like, roughly that's what it looks like. So Vilnius is Sabbat, Klaipėda is still like Camarilla nominally, but nobody wants to live there because it's on the border. So you get fucked with, but like it could be worse. Gdansk map. Open Google Maps. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see. Yeah, I think Warsaw is the biggest. Actually, no, Kaliningrad. That's the Sabbat stronghold because Russia is a shithole.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll go with Kaliningrad. There's some bits surrounding it, but Kaliningrad is Sabbat. And yeah, and actually, yeah, we'll say that Warsaw is probably like a contested city, honestly, with the Camarilla having like a narrow advantage. So that's where the real fighting is going on. Which means that you are to some extent ignored. Gdynia is the city to the north of you. And it is sized at 250k. And Gdansk is 600k, so 850 plus 15 Sopot, plus some of the smaller towns where someone might occasionally want to set up domain. 90 to 110 vampires is reasonable for this. Roughly. So yeah, that's roughly the size of the domain. Okay, any questions about politics, important characters, anything else you guys need to know for next week? Because next week we start at Elysium where you get to do shit.
Classic Elysium start, but I'll think. No general goings, and I can't know much because my character doesn't know, and I don't want to try to meta game, even though I'll fail at it anyways.
Dan, I see 3 dots assigned to a place with no entry on your advantages sheet, and we need to decide the final shape of the pooled backgrounds.
That was it. It must have been closed on someone else's end, and it didn't save correctly.
Okay, but like I'm limiting it to 1 max per character. We're not gonna have a lopsided thing where someone is committing like the maximum group amount for the pooled background, so
I thought it was up to 3.
up to 3 in any one background, but pooled is max of 1 per person.
Yeah.
Which means you can go up to 5 total, but I don't want a situation where someone is pouring a lot into the group and someone very little. So these days I generally put a max amount or ask people to spend an equal amount.
So was it just 2? No one else then?
I don't have points to.
Yes, in theory, but we're gonna say that the map has changed slightly.
Yeah, it is a bit odd, like
Yeah, that Camarilla
the
has
Ravenous,
solidified in Poland and retreated in the Baltics.
and the Ravenous shouldn't be there. They are all dead.
No, 1 point max per person, Dan.
Yeah, it's 1-3 and 1 point I've done.
Don't put, just put what you. I'll give you a group stuff handout and put what the final result is there. Just put what you're committing to it, because we need to make sure that your totals are correct. So if you're committing one, commit one on your sheet, and that's it. And I will say that the pooled domain will kick in after session 1. Session 1 is going to be like an introductory thing to set the scene for the adventure. Dan, please. Pooled background, assign 1 dot. That's how you do it if you're committing something. If you're not, that's fine. And
I was.
yes, no.
Yes.
Okay, so pool domain goes to 2 and that's it. So you're someone important. Lizek is muscle and Hannah needs to get out more according to her sire. And it makes sense for for Ethan to be committing a pulled background, because I'm gonna say that he has actually, let's end on a high note. And you can think of why your character would participate and why you would be eager to do this, because this is an opportunity, an easy target. Ethan would have been scouting a construction site after a newspaper was brought to his attention in a tabloid about strange goings on at a construction site. It's 3 apartment buildings, high class ones. One is finished and is just getting furnished, so still not occupied. One just has foundations laid, and one is halfway up. It's 6 floors, like the carcass of 6 floors built, but still built up. And he was scouting out 2 neonates who held it on his domain. Weird shit was happening there. Mortals were seeing. He reported it. The prince was pissed. So he has a good idea what the Elysium is about. The rest of you don't, but Elysium is the kind where everyone is strongly invited to attend, which usually means one thing: blood hunt.
Yeah, blood hunt.
Someone fucked up, or 2 someones fucked up, and well, the city is invited to disassemble them.
To hope they are 9th generation.
I'll roll randomly for generation. Semi-random. I'll at least let it be a chance that they're a useful generation for someone.
I mean, more likely they are useful to have the party.
You and Hannah are 10.
Yeah.
And then we have Ethan is 13 and Stanislav is 12.
Stanislav is 12, yeah.
But then
So
you have to
11.
play rock, paper, scissors or Russian roulette to see who actually, gets to eat. But yes, the idea is that you either pursue the target separately and meet up when taking down the targets, or pursue them together and hopefully manage to catch them and do something about them. But yes, pair of neonates have been careless with the Masquerade in their new construction project and domain, and you know, there might, since you know how foreshadowing works, there's a non-zero chance that you will be in charge of that domain after this, make sure that whatever weird shit is happening there does not get any more mortal witnesses. So yes, that's the plot hook. That's the campaign.
Good start.
Always nice to start with the blood hunt, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
That being said, others will be hunting, and depending on how low generation they are, some ancillary and elders might be hunting. So if you want to catch them, you have to be competent. You might get beaten to it. Because, like, if you're a neonate at 10th generation, going down is nice. If you are an elder at 10th generation, going down is essential.
Yeah. I mean, just take 3 dots on disciplines is always good. I mean, what are we losing? A piece of our soul? That's nothing.
It's neonates. Like, a dot is probably what you're getting.
A dot is like
But no,
a
like
lot of
that's
XP.
like a 33% increase.
That's infinitely more XP than we have right now.
Oh, exactly. But yes, it's Stanislav, you don't understand. It's a chance to further prove your competence and usefulness to your masters. And to get some practice in fighting other vampires for when you fight your sire.
Maybe I will learn how to use fireballs in the process.
I mean, as long as nobody sees you. You're in the age of cell phone cameras, so... But yeah, like... if it showed up in a newspaper, even a tabloid, that supernatural shit was going on someone's clay, understandably, when, the prince heard about this and when it was presented that these fuckers weren't doing their job or taking proper extra care, it's kind of like, okay, I see how it is. So yeah, like the Bloodlines game, we're gonna start with a carefully measured dose of Cameral justice.
Right, how much XP for session 0? 1.
You mean one?
Yes,
No.
yes, I'll note down.
Okay, so till next week then.
Yes. Do figure out. Well, I'll make you roleplay out meeting and deciding whether you're gonna pursue the targets together or not. You're all gonna have like your bosses going like, go on, play with the other kids. Go blood hunt a bitch. Oh crap! I didn't do a local recording. I'm gonna have to export from Twitch. Fuck me. Oh well. It's not like I have even published any of the Dark Heresy videos on YouTube.
You're such a bad, like...
YouTube is such a bad
finished,
site.
Radomir finished the streams and immediately uploads the videos.
But I bet he live streams on YouTube though.
No, he only does on Twitch.
No piece of shit. Making me look bad. Okay, he fucked off. Do any of you have any thoughts about the upcoming campaign? Are we excited, children?
No, just good to be back. Something World of Darkness that I know how it works instead of major changeling.
Yeah,
It's refreshing.
we got rid of all the bullshit people, so hopefully we can have a nice, sane campaign. And yes, clairvoyance.
No, you
is
didn't got rid of me.
Nah, you're usually fine. You listen to me when I tell you to tone it down.
Yeah.
I don't mind spicy. I mind what people are like. I don't have to fucking listen to you. You're only guesty. But yeah, Dan, thoughts?
Wonder what the Blood Hunted guy tastes like.
Keep in mind, in order to avoid notice, you have to use Blush of Life, so but losing potentially up to 2 points of humanity for Diablerie will will cut into that. Okay, so you're already eager to eat someone, got it. Nyaxi.
Cheers.
If only the Tremere was skilled enough to know the ritual of the bitter rose so you could share.
I mean, I'm not planning on Diablerie.
You're just gonna go along and, just maybe shoot someone to make your sire proud. You'll be safe in a group, right?
Probably, I mean,
Okay, Matt, what about you? Any thoughts?
Everything's fine. I feel my character is finally complete, so we can start playing.
Does the city feel suitably crazy in a horror-esque, controlling, fucking dystopia way?
I will know it after 4 sessions.
I'm gonna give you a sheet to start working on a backup character just in case. And I kid you not, I'm literally assigning it to you right now. There you go.
Okay.
What's the name of the chronicle again?
The Amber Palace.
Right. Now my character is done.
Okay, good. Well, I will see you next week. I will have the city politics stuff at least filled out by then, and for anything else I need along the way, I'll make it as I need. Like, the important part is to know, like, essentially how the city fits together as a moving parts kind of thing, for me at least, so I know how you doing stupid shit will shift the political opinions and alliances, right?
Yeah.
Because that's where, like, the really explosive shit goes on, because it's like, oh yes, the Malkavians resent the Bruja for this, and this would trigger that resentment, and the Bruja would do something to trigger it even more, which means the Malkavians are now at war with the Bruja. It's like a domino effect, right? If you know what each of the groups and characters inside them want, then at some point it gets easy to mind palace how, like, the dominoes would follow from something that, shoves something important. Oh, by the way, Dan already knows, Matt, these are very sandboxy games the way I run them. Which means that very good things can happen. More often, very bad things can happen.
Yeah, it's very free. Do whatever you want. There is a mission in the background. It's important to not ignore it, but most of the time you just do what you want your character to do and figure out how to do that.
This is a little less you're on a specific set of rails like in Dark Heresy, and more of a, here's a world with stuff going on inside it. Fuck around with it.
Which is much more enjoyable. Unless you don't know what your character wants, then it gets very
He knows
boring.
exactly what his character wants. A nice little pile of ash vaguely shaped like his sire. Which is incidentally why I wanted an achievable individual goal.
Yeah.
So for Lily it's freedom, for Ethan it's siring rights, for Stanislav it's a dead sire, and for Leszek it was burning down and desecrating a church to honor his dead friend.
Closure, okay? We are using pretty words. I just want closure for my own personal issues.
Mm-hmm.
I also
Like-
decided the church it is. There's a link on the bio.
I will check it and I will roll randomly to see if it's someone's domain. Chances are probably low if it's a small church.
Yeah, it is small, but it has a cemetery, so it might be more important.
Oh, I have people that fuck with cemeteries.
Yeah, you have lots of people that like bones, apparently.
Katerina doesn't actually loot bones herself. Not as
That's
such.
half the fun.
Like, people trade them to her. It's like, this was my grandmother. She lived 5 days after the fall of Soviet Union. She loved communism so. You just, I will treasure this. Yeah, you see that crap around her neck? Every one of those has a story. That's probably engraved on them in some way, artistic way.
I think the video I just sent, it's from an Ukrainian. It's very good. As you see on the first 5 seconds, that's computer-generated graphics. There is no street crimes being committed here.
Mm-hmm. I'll check it after I end the stream. Okay, good. Then I do believe we have stuff worked out. We have a
Yes,
group stuff pulled. Background ends up being at 2 points of domain. If Ethan dies, it goes to 1 point of domain because he's the one who knows the area the best. Which makes sense. Things like kitchen knives or more combat-y knives are probably buyable. Guns. If you have firearms and some resources, you can have like like an old Soviet gun of some kind, probably. Effectively, light pistols and light revolvers. Heavy arsenal is restricted to, arsenal background. And like, if you did buy like hunting shotguns some way or hunting rifles, we would probably make a watered down versions of the book rifles because these are supposed to be shitty shotguns and low caliber like hunting rifles in Poland.
Yeah, the hunting rifles in the book, like, it's very American. Oh yeah, your hunting rifle, your 7x68.
Yeah.
High power round, not. You want to hunt bears and
In this
huge
city,
moose.
the big guns in the book are generally the domain of having the arsenal background. There are NPCs who have those and who can loan you a real weapon, but
standard hunting rifles is usually just like rated for small animals. Like, what's even in Poland to hunt?
I don't know how forested they still are, but I assume there's like deer and the like.
Yeah, like small deer. They probably still have some wolves around that are defense. It would be low caliber.
Wolves might be endangered.
Right.
Geese. You can hunt geese.
Rabbit probably.
Boars. Boar hunting is a thing here. It's probably a thing in Poland as well.
Okay, if there's boar hunting, you probably can get something a bit stronger, because yeah, boar hunting is a big issue.
I was thinking like -2 dice to the damage, so like a hunting rifle would be 6 dice, which is still reasonable amounts of stopping power. Like you're usually in a wooden stand, so you're not in any danger from the boar. It's not like you're on the ground with it charging towards you.
Oh, you never saw American boar hunting?
Well, this isn't America, like they do it in a sane way.
Like, it depends, like the boar species on Europe, they are invasive or not.
I think they're just native to here.
Okay, so less bad. And like in the Americas, the issue is like invasive war species. So they make these huge herds that just destroy everything. And like in America, the only reasonable way is you
From
go
a
with a truck with
helicopter with a minigun, like brrrr.
not a minigun, but yes, they do helicopter, they do trucks with heavy machine guns. It's what you need to do to kill them. Like,
Yeah, no, that
it's
is nothing like they do it. No, it's just like
okay.
a
So
wooden platform, like floor or 2 floors above the first floor, and you just lie in ambush there and watch through a
yeah,
smoke.
if the Boers are natives, I don't need heavy armaments to fight them. They will not be on massive herds killing everything.
But yeah, okay. Yeah, I think it might be more dramatic to reveal it on the spot, but you'll just end up discussing tactics for the entirety of the first session if I do that. This way you can think ahead and it makes sense that you would know with the way things align. So yeah, like there's a blood hunt coming. Some bitches are gonna get smoked for being stupid. It's been nearly 3 years since the last one. It was about time.
Healthy city.
Fun, huh?
Yeah. If that's everything, is session over?
Yes.
And
Say goodbye,
it's streaming.
everyone.
Oh, it's
Goodbye.
still streaming.
Goodbye,
Okay.
everyone.
Good thing I asked. Goodbye.